For those of you who come with curiosities, with questions, heed the warning, you should beware. For those of you who come in search of fright and scares, fear not, for there are plenty to share. Now as the feeling trickles down your spine, and your heart begins to race and your mind resides, close your eyes, step forth, and embrace the chill, as the wind dies down and the air grows still. Now you find yourself at the gate, and you realize there's no escape. Once you've crossed the domain, you found yourself playing a creeper's game. Let yourself sink, the time is just right, for there's a lesson to learn in Ghoul School tonight. Welcome to Ghoul School with us. Welcome all.
RJ, feeling spooky?
What?
You feeling spooky over there?
Can you define what you mean by spook?
I don't know. I mean, do you feel your hair rising?
Something's rising.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's hair. Do you know what I mean?
Is your dander up?
No, I don't really have dander. I mean, I don't lotion as much as I should, so I do get I am a little ashy. Not bad.
Okay.
I don't
how's your exfoliation?
Could use improvement. I do have a loofah thing, but I only use it like once a week. Usually I'm just lazy with the soap, and I just kind of splatter it on with my hands. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Do you use a loofah?
I do not, RJ.
Jarrett, people dial into Ghoul School for loofah talk. This is our new thing. Loofahs are the new soup.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do you have a brand of loofah you would recommend?
I get the poof. I don't know what kind of brand that is, but you know when there's just a big bin of poofs, like the circle-y poofs, and they're like, I don't know, a couple bucks or something. So it's not really a loofah. It's a poofla.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know about poof?
I didn't know they had a name.
I just call them poofs because that's what they look like. It just looks like a poof, like a poof of air.
A poof of air.
Speaking of poof of air,
much like our time here with October dwindling away, less than a week.
I don't know about you, but this month has flown by for me.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Sailed right through.
Nah.
Just flown right by.
A heavy flow.
That's not the word I would describe it as, but flown right by is what I would say.
No.
Yeah. What's your total your count up to now? Before we begin.
Okay, so right now here we
Curious.
are in the early evening of October 26th. I have apparently logged 102 films, but it should be noted that 30 of those are short films.
So your real numbers are only 70.
72, yeah.
72? Okay. That's, I mean, that's okay for like if you were new to this, I think, but I think people kind of expected more from you.
Well, I mean, tonight's going to be kind of a bust. I might get one or two afterwards, but I've got 5 days ahead of me.
Take the week off?
The actual day, the 31st, I will not be at work. And that's usually about a 10-day festivity, so... Or sort of 10 film festivity.
10 film a day?
Yeah.
What do you have anything planned to celebrate? Like, do you have a special meal you're going to get? Like, are you going to get taco time, like 5 movies in?
Don't have time for that.
No? What if you did skip the dishes thing?
That cuts... Nah, it's not even worth it. It's not even worth the time. It's like, you ever eaten skip the dish food, like, out of a bit? I can't imagine that taco time would hold up very well.
No, we don't do that. I just drive to wherever we want because I'm too afraid that people are gonna like take a bite out of my food or something. Because you know how I am with food, right? Plus, I feel like because we looked at it once and it was like wait time was like 50 minutes, and I was like I can be there and back in 10.
You could be there and back multiple times.
Yeah. Well, and I was like the food. I was like, there's no way the food is good by the time it gets to you. You know what I mean? Like those guys pick it up. It's probably like all soggy and like shit in. You know what I mean?
It's definitely been shat in.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
some of the movies I've been watching, you know about those shit things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I don't do that. But so you got no special meal plan? Because I'm gonna make chili on Sunday, and that's my special thing for myself.
A ghoul's favorite food.
And Ghoul's chili is my plan, because I like to make it and then I'll let it sit all day, nice Sunday meal, and then on Halloween I'll have a nice bowl of chili to look forward to.
Let's see.
Hey, you live in the area. What's your read on trick-or-treaters? Is it busy here?
Nah, not really.
No?
Not really.
What about where I live?
Totally different. I'm sure it'll be extremely busy. I don't know.
Well, we're close to a park, you know.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll bump up those numbers?
I don't know. You'll find out, I guess.
Hey, did you know Halloween Mischief is in the air?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we got ding-donged last week.
Ooh.
And I was up there, I swear, 10 seconds flat, out in the driveway. Said, "Where you at, you little pricks?" And they were out in the park at nighttime, and I couldn't see them, but they were there, and they were mocking me, Jarrett. They were making meowing sounds.
Oh,
going,
shit.
meow, meow.
Maybe,
and I went,
maybe
"You
they're
sons of
Maybe they're
bitches."
sending you a message.
Oh, they were sending me a message, all right. They were sending me a message. So I ordered a big searchlight spotlight. So next time these little sons of bitches do it, just tunk and just crane into the park.
Wait till they get a load of your basement
with the window,
with the kill room.
Well, you ever seen Hellraiser 5, Jarrett? Because that's what's going on in that basement downstairs right now.
Shit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So is this going to be like but this could also wind up Eden Lake style.
Yeah, but like these kids have it coming though, and I guess Corpse thought that Eden Lake lady had it coming too. That wasn't how I interpreted that movie.
No.
But I mean, somewhere between Eden Lake and what's that huge alligator movie, Lake Placid?
Sure.
Somewhere in between there, because like you know that's the spider dungeon down there, right?
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
I've told you about.
Well, I know there's spiders. I think it sounds like there's spiders everywhere, though. I mean, I didn't know they had like one specific lair.
I see them down there more than anywhere.
Okay, I thought you said the shed that they were like.
Well, the shed's the widows.
Oh, I see.
In the house.
Then there's the vehicle. They were trying to like.
That one was trying to get in.
Yeah, interfere.
And then the basement is they're just house spiders, but we've seen some that are like bigger than like a toonie, like monstrous.
Look, it's a spider's world. We just live in it.
Yeah, I know, but I don't like that. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, well,
and
tough titty.
Well, I say so. Like we have the cat's litter boxes down there in the laundry room, and I'd say every day when I go down there, I get 1 or 2 spiders. Every day, I actually get them. I know they're dead.
Think about the ones that are like
that
skittering across you as you sleep.
I know. Well, that's what I mean. If there's so many that I'm killing at least 1 to 2 a day, where are the others? Do you know what I mean? Like
you might be eating like quadruple what the average person eats.
I think that was like that was debunked once.
Uh-huh. I'm
not gonna Google it because I don't want to get suggested ads for spider stuff.
Yeah, well, maybe that was also. I mean, since it is a spider's world, that was a.
You think a spider wrote that?
That's some PR spin.
Said actually, spiders are good for the environment.
The World Wide Web.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is what people come to Ghoul School for. Right, Jared?
Torture. That's what they come for, folks.
Mm-hmm. And boy, are you in for it tonight. Jarrett just said he watched 30 short films.
I think I told Oliver Granger, who prompted this, that about 1 in 5 are recommendable. So,
well, hey, at least you got the one.
We won't get there. We won't get there all.
Did you watch Make Me a Sandwich yet?
Nope.
The fuck? Do you not care about this podcast anymore?
I don't know.
Where is your professionalism?
Not for a long time. Never had it.
But it's a 2-minute watch, Jarrett, and you can log it on Letterboxd. Is that not enticing to you?
Until they take it down.
Until they take it down.
Yeah. I can log Guillermo del Toro's new show.
I mean, that's all horseshit though, because you could log each individual episode of Unsolved Mysteries for a while, and then they took all that away. Yeah. You can log individual Goosebumps episodes, but that'll get taken off eventually too. You know about Goosebumps?
I feel like like the movie DB and Letterbox people, though, they're all big GDT stands, and so they'll be like, "Oh, we'll make a special little rule just for you, Guillermo. You're one of us."
Kind of like that TV show that's the weird exception. What is it, like Big Little Liars or something? You can just log every season of it for some reason.
Because maybe the creator has an account that they barely use.
Yeah, it's possible.
Hey, RJ, what have you been watching this week?
Nothing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't really watch movies.
You ever heard about a movie called Bigfoot: The Lost Coast Tapes?
I'm sure I'm going to.
Oh.
Yeah, is Lost Coast Tapes, is it found footage?
Is it found footage? Yes, it is. I had to stop because I was like, which Bigfoot film was this one? And I'm like, yes, it was the one that I have one of the last lines of the film is spoiled in my review for it. I gave this movie 1 star.
That's pretty good for you.
Is it?
I mean, maybe.
1 star. Bigfoot: The Lost Coast Tapes. My review is, it's not Bigfoot. It's not Bigfoot. Ah! That's how the movie ends.
So what is it?
I don't know, like a demon or alien or something. They leave it vague.
Well, that's horseshit.
Don't you love, like, you watch this fucking movie about a killer Bigfoot for 89 minutes and they still cheap out on the end.
But it was called Bigfoot Lost Tapes?
The Lost Coast Tapes. And
see,
and the poster has a Bigfoot like apparition.
That's absolute horseshit.
Yeah.
Could you sue for what's that thing?
Lionel
False
Hutz
advertising?
style?
He said, I was here for Bigfoot and I wanted Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
That's some sort of vague ending that made me feel bad about myself.
That's the twist.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's not a good one. That's on Tubi. But
was it a Tubi original?
No. This is from this is 2012.
Oh, okay. How many Bigfoot movies are you up to?
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can talk about the next one, which I think is this is the closest thing we have to an Exist this season.
Oh?
We have Primal Rage. RJ, are you familiar with this one?
I know the video game Primal Rage.
Okay, so this is 2018. This is directed by a Patrick McGee.
Sure it is.
This is Patrick McGee's feature debut, and so far the only work of his that's loggable anyway.
Mm-hmm. Totally real name, Patrick McGee.
The tagline of this film.
Mm-hmm.
The Legend of Oma. A newly reunited young couple's drive through the Pacific Northwest turns into a nightmare as they are forced to face nature, unsavory locals, and a monstrous creature known to the Native Americans as Oma.
Is that true?
It is in the movie.
Oh.
So I've seen a few people mention this. So there's a lot of mention of Predator in reference to Primal Rage. But there's also one review describing this Bigfoot as Jason Voorhees, and I was like, what do they mean by that? Well, the reason they mention this is because this Bigfoot, this Bigfoot's running around with a like wood mask, and he's just a hunter, and you see him he'll be kind of doing this pose like this. RJ, if you want to see what I'm doing here, there's a scene where the husband and wife, they're walking through the woods, and he's like this. And then you're like, oh, and then suddenly goes, you're like, holy shit, I thought that was a rock, but it's Oma. And Oma fucking butchers people unmercifully. It is just so it's got some of the most heinous gore I've seen all month. We were like, what the fuck? I was like, what is he doing to that guy's head?
Where did you see Primal Rage?
It's on something. It's
okay.
we have access to it. It's on it might be Tubi, it might be Prime or something, but
yeah,
it's there.
How come the poster looks like a baboon?
Well, it is kind of like a baboony looking Bigfoot.
No, wait. So the Primal Rage, and a baboon escapes from Florida.
I watched 2 Primal Rages this year. So this is the 2018 one, RJ.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's like a lot to dismiss about this movie because the characters stink. It's like real. It's a trial to get through to like the sweet action. It's kind of like it kind of reminds me of Prey a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think this is way better than Prey, and people love Prey. But I think this is much cooler in the sense that I don't know.
Yeah.
There is sadly some unfortunate behaviors exhibited by Bigfoot that I would prefer not to see in my Bigfoot films.
Could you describe
his interest in human females? It's like it really brings down the film. Where you go, oh, was that necessary? But
yeah,
Bigfoot smells piss in this. If you're into sniffing piss, RJ,
is that like canon?
Well, it is now.
Oh, okay. Did you watch Koki D Koki Da yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Did I go piss sniffing?
Well, cheer. I don't really want to
piss gargling.
I don't really want to spoil that film for you, so I'm just gonna leave that one where it is.
Very well. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'd say Primal Rage is worth a watch. Okay. It's not great, but in Creeptober terms, it's I don't know. It's got some of the good goriness, and I think Alma's pretty cool.
Primal Rage from 2018.
Yes.
Let's just clarify that, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Tubi.
Because I could also talk about the one with the baboon.
Well, that was the one, like, that was the one I saw first, and I clicked it, and I was like, that looks like a baboon. Well, and then I read the description, and it said a baboon. I was like, what the hell?
That's a film from 1988, so a couple decades earlier. From Vittorio Rambaldi. There's a new party animal on campus. She'll bring out the beast in you.
Does the baboon party?
A baboon escapes from a Florida campus lab and starts spreading something bad with a bite. So this turns into a zombie movie.
Oh. That's less interesting to me.
Yeah.
I would have preferred something else. But, oh well.
Yeah. I think I've tried watching this, and I have tried watching Primal Rage multiple times. This is the first time I put it on while I was painting some minifigs, and it was kind of going on, but nothing about it drew me in at all at any point.
Yeah.
And I will say that there's been times where if something is good, I will stop painting because I can hear them like, oh, this sounds like something's happening. This is coming around nicely, and then it gets my attention. But if a movie fails to do that, it's not a good sign.
Do you have a take for that?
I should.
Like movies that have forced you into attention?
Yeah, maybe.
Or some sort of take, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like to like when you hit one of those movies tonight, you tell me which one it was.
Well, I don't think tonight will be that night. But maybe
next week.
Sunday night. Yeah, next week when we talk, there'll be more examples of that.
Yeah.
But, there's been a few films that have been like, while assembling minis or whatever, you throw some Tubi on. And because low stakes.
Who doesn't like a little Tubi? You know what I mean?
Right. I'll finish up my Bigfoot cycle. So I watched Bigfoot from 1969. Sorry, 1970, I guess? I don't know. I think that's give or take a year. And I also watched Sasquatch: The Legend of Bigfoot from 1976.
And how are those ones?
So Bigfoot is another. He's a rapey Bigfoot. You barely see him. He's I don't know, fighting bikers a little bit. The poster's pretty sweet, but
I like Bigfoot fighting bikers, but I don't really need big rape foot. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I did find this great quote because I was kind of curious about like when the Patterson-Gimlin documentary came out, which I think it just was like the 55th anniversary of it, like maybe even tomorrow or today or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, when did that film come out, and why did they start making all these Bigfoot films? And I knew it was like pretty tight, but I was wondering, when did this become like a thing? Like, when did people start like? Why did this Patterson-Gimlin guy go out? The two of them go out to do this bullshit, like make their fake film. And in the 50s there was like Bigfoot talk and like abominable snowmen talk.
Yeah, I mean it's a light distinction, but you need to know that, right?
That's right.
That there is a distinction between the two.
But this one great bit from the Wikipedia from Bernard Hovelmans, a zoologist and the so-called father of cryptozoology, thought the creature in the Patterson film was a suited human. He objected to the film's subject's hair flow pattern as being too uniform, to the hair on the breast as not being like a primate, to its buttocks as being insufficiently separated, and its too calm retreat from the pursuing men.
How is your buttocks right now?
Sufficiently separated, one would
It is? It is? Sometimes you got to pay extra for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd be careful, buddy.
That's right.
I'd be careful.
That's what every Wednesday feels like it.
That you are... Yeah, so that's good. So you like Bigfoot movies, and that's cool.
Yeah, Sasquatch, though. Oh, boy. The 76 thing. It's like a docudrama. This sucks. It is...
Well, yeah.
It is forever minutes long.
Yep. That sounds about right.
Yeah, this thing is just like... But it's actually set in Canada. It is set in British Columbia. And it goes on and on and on. It does feel kind of like a National Film Board... nature documentary.
That's cool in idea. Like I feel like if you were like, people were always like, what kind of movie would you make, Jarrett? I feel like Jarrett would make like a National Film Board CBC documentary on a Bigfoot, where he's running 30 miles an hour at cameras. You know what I mean? Sounds cool, but it's not.
Man, there's some mixed opinions on this thing. Some people are like, this sucks. Other people are like, it's pretty effective. So it's weird though. Mm-hmm. On Letterboxd, it has this listed as 102 minutes, but I think it's only 73.
That's bad, because that would scare off a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But if I knew it was 70 minutes, I'd be a lot more inclined to watch something like that.
But you shouldn't.
Not 100.
But you definitely shouldn't.
So you're telling me you liked it?
Skip it.
Oh.
Yeah, I watched an RJ pick.
Oh, like a genuine one?
Kind of. Your review seemed pretty high on it regarding the last 20 minutes blowing dicks off, I believe.
Oh.
One Dark Night from 1982.
Yeah. So, regardless of all the stuff beforehand, how was that last 20 minutes?
It was whatever. I don't know.
I liked it.
I think it looked so cheap. I was kind of like...
I liked it.
I was startled by how cheap the zombie effects were, and all they do is they bump into you. Like, they don't eat you, they don't tear into you, they just they bump you to death, and it's like, that's it. And then like I don't know what you call him, like the necromancer sorcerer guy at the end.
I like that guy too.
He just shoots lightning out of his eyes, but he doesn't like do anything. You're like, what is this? He just stands there, and then these characters run around screaming as they get bumped into. It's like, just avoid them. Oh no, there was 5 of them. They bumped me so hard on the ground that they just die from being bumped into. I don't know if that was a limitation of the effects of like, it's just these bodies and just keep running into you and over and over and over again. They don't claw you, they don't gnaw on you, they just bump you.
Well, Jarrett, can I ask you, when's the last time you got bumped?
I feel like it's been a while.
Intentionally
I do feel like the remnants of social distancing are still around us, so I think people are still kind of mindful about that sort of thing. But it's only a matter of time, and then it'll be bump-a-mania. People will be taking bumps.
Well, I'll tell you, I got bumped the other day. Fuck, I could barely walk for a week.
Yeah.
So I think there's something to this movie. I think bumperama is a real thing, and something that should be taken with seriousness and care.
So for those who don't recall, this is a night to remember until the day you die. A strange man named Karl Ramarovich dies shortly after discovering a way to become even more powerful in death through telekinesis.
Oh, shit.
On the night of his burial in a crypt, Julie is to spend the night there as part of an initiation rite, which is actually interesting.
I was going to say that there's a little crossover with a new release.
Supervised by 2 other girls. The crypt becomes a scene of horror as Raymar... See, they changed the guy's name. Raymar returns to life and deploys his horrifying telekinetic powers. So this movie's got Adam West in it for like a minute.
Yeah, see, that's cool. And he's got terrifying powers, Jarrett.
He does.
What's not to like?
This poster's way cooler than the movie in a lot of ways.
The hands.
Yeah, zombie hands climbing up this lady's legs, and you're just like, it cuts. Yeah, the cropping is just like just above the knees, and you don't even see her ankles, and there's zombie hands, and in the background is a mausoleum.
That is very cool. I do like that.
But yeah, so Tom McLaughlin, who directed this this film, I think this was his first movie. Yes, it was. And he followed this up with Friday the 13th 6, Jason Lives. Mm-hmm. And you know what he also directed? Sometimes They Come Back.
Yeah, okay. So that was why I watched it, I think, was because I watched Sometimes, or actually maybe not. Like, I knew I had seen other films of his. I watched Sometimes They Come Back, I think, like 2-3 years ago. Can't remember. That's a good movie. You should watch that. Or Sometimes They Come Back Again.
Sometimes They Come Back for seconds.
For seconds. And what about Thirds, Jarrett?
Oh, that now we're talking dangerous.
That's true. Oh well. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do about it? But hey, RJ, that's my Bigfoot cycle out of the way. A couple other movies, but Primal Rage. If you got time, check it out.
I don't know if I'll be getting into it this year, but I added it to the master list. And next year I'll watch it and I'll be like, Jared, you should check this movie out. And you'll go, I saw it.
I told you about it, you son of a bitch.
Last year. Yeah, so that'll be something to look forward to 12 months from now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So RJ, you watched any movies this week?
No, I don't watch any movies. Not even a chance. I did watch some movies like weeks ago that feel like forever ago. Where we left off was Lair, the White Worm, and X for me.
Oh man.
So like these movies feel like so long ago. I can talk to X a little bit, but like I got my notes here. Lair, the White Worm, I thought it was okay. Like I've heard of this before, and it's what's his name? Kurt Russell.
Oh,
who directed this?
Yeah, Ken Russell.
Ken Russell, not Kurt Russell. So I was watching this, and it's got actors in it, like Hugh Grant is in there, and what's his nuts? Peter Capaldi is in there, and somebody else, and I don't know, dude. Like I didn't think it was bad. I was just like, I'm not really into this. They're like at a house, and they find like a burial ground underneath, and then it kind of releases like this worm lady or something, and then it's a white snake lady, or she's a snake, and she's like seducing people, and then she eats them, and she kind of bites them, and then people turn into snake zombies. And so Hugh Grant and Peter Capaldi and two ladies try to like fight this lady, and it's all about like horny stuff because there's lots of like biting dicks and things like that. And there's a lot of snake stuff, like to distract this lady. They play like music, and she kind of like bobs around and like doesn't come out. And I was like, this is fine. I was like, this is kind of lame though. You know what I mean? And like a lot of people seem pretty high on it, like speak highly of this. So maybe it's on me for expecting too much.
I would have never expected you to be like a big fan of this movie. I don't think this movie's to your taste.
I'm not saying it's bad. I was just kind of like,
but it's not your. But I know it's not your taste. Yeah. I would never. I don't think recommend this movie to you. So I was kind of surprised. And it's on the Criterion channel. But this is definitely more on the. I don't know what you call it, the camp side of Ken Russell. And so, like, because you haven't watched Gothic, right?
No, I've only seen the big one.
The Devils.
The Devils, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, you've never watched Altered States?
Oh, yeah, with
William Hurt?
I was going to say Jeff Daniels. With William Hurt, yeah. And
with Kurt Russell?
I liked Altered States when I watched it with Kurt Russell, but I don't know if I'd like it now, because I feel like that would fall under that art house trash kind of area. I remember lots of psychedelic type stuff in that movie. I liked it when I watched it, but no, I don't like. I've seen this get talked about a ton, like on the internet.
On the internet.
On the internet, and then I know Ken Russell and I like him, so I was like, I'll throw this on, and yeah, I don't dislike it or anything. I was just kind of like, this is kind of a lame movie. It's a lame duck. So then I watched X, Jarrett. You know about X?
Yeah, I know. It's about old people. Fuck him.
It sure is, Jarrett. It sure is. What did I I gotta see like what I reviewed this movie of or something. When did you watch? Did you watch this last year, or did you watch?
I watched this
during the year?
I watched this like right before. Like either I got COVID 2 days earlier, or I got COVID when I saw this movie. I'm thinking I got it beforehand, but
yeah,
that's what I remember. Because being like, oh shit, and I don't think I've gone to the theater since. No, that's not true. That's not true because I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, okay, so big A24 boy is what you're saying.
That's pretty much it. That's the life I live.
Yeah, big A24 boy. That's cool. That's cool. So I threw this on, and this is, get out.
T West.
T West. It's very big right now because the sequel came out, and I know all the A24 guys had raging boners because Martin Scorsese was all over it. He's like, this is true cinema. And you're just like, all right, guys, relax.
Finally, cinema.
Cinema. It's like Scorsese's like 800 years old, so just fucking calm down. But so I threw this on, and I was like, I don't know if I'll like this or not, because I'm very here and there with Ty West, because I don't know, dude. Like, I didn't really like The Innkeepers, and I did like The House of the Devil, but I didn't think it was as good as everyone said it was, if that makes sense. So I was kind of, and like, I've seen his stuff in like VHS and whatever, but threw it on. It's got big hype. Kid Cudi's in there. Mia Goth, who I had no idea who was, but apparently is the biggest actress on Earth or something, if you believe the internet.
Again, that's one of your problems. Like, if you're spending a little bit too much time on Twitter and Reddit, I mean, that's on you.
Yeah, I know. I realize that. But so this is a Texas Chainsaw parody, I guess, but without comedy, is how I would describe it. This is Texas Chainsaw like
about
2.
a pastiche.
It's a pastiche, yeah. So a group of people go to film, like, I mean, I know everyone knows this, but they go to film a porno on like a farm in Texas, and there's a weird old guy and a weird old gal who live on the farm, and that's kind of how it plays out.
They have a gator.
They do have a gator, which
eating alive style.
I thought the gator was so more Toby Hooper stuff in there. I'm not gonna lie, I thought the gator thing was really lame. Like, cause like the build up to it, I was kind of like, all right, there's a gator here, and then like when the gator death is coming, you're kind of like, oh, I know, that guy's gonna get eaten by that gator, but it was like there, and I was kind of like,
there it goes.
I think I'm not a fan of gator based horror. I think is what it is, because I don't think I liked Alligator or Eaten Alive.
What about Alligator 2?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I've seen that.
How can you
Lake Placid?
Yeah,
Lake Placid's another deal. What was I gonna say? So I'm kind of here and there with Ty West, but after this, I think I can safely say I don't like Ty West. Like,
why are you watching? Why are you watching movies to like determine whether or not you like the director?
Well, it's not that. It was like, because like everybody, like, so I went on Letterboxd, and I usually don't read reviews, but I looked at like reviews from friends, and
once again, the internet.
I know, but every one of those reviews was like,
let me tell you,
like, I was soft on Ty West, but he finally did it. He finally did it.
I'm soft on him, but no, I'm hard again.
No, I'm hard.
Ew.
Like, everyone was like, he finally made his masterpiece, and I was like, all right, fuck, I'll check it out, whatever. So it is on me. I realize that, and I know some people really like this. I like what Ty West is trying to do. Like, I know he's trying to make things that honor classic horror, and he's doing it in like a slick way, you know what I mean? But like, I just don't like it. I think I've said too, like, I think Oz Perkins is the better Ty West, and Oz Perkins isn't doing things like that similar to Ty West, but like
slow burn.
Like, well, I think at the time it was like House of the Devil.
Hey, House of the Devil. Okay, so
compared to Oz Perkins, like Blackcoat's Daughter or something.
So there's something I noticed this year, and I've kind of talked about this, I think, a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna pull this up. Give me a moment, because this is wild. Me.
Do you want?
Okay. Yeah. In the 1990s, if you had to guess, how many horror films do you think there were made, according to Letterboxd?
I mean, I don't know how many horror movies are usually made in a year.
It doesn't matter, but how many Do you think in the 1990s?
In the decade?
In the decade of the 1990s.
I'm going to say 30 a year, so 300.
30 a year, so 300. Okay, so
but that's
actually not bad. Actually,
shot on video.
You're pretty good. So
nice.
20. So it's 25.99. So almost 2,600. So 26 a month or whatever. Sorry, 26 a year. Okay, so that was the 90s. Okay, 1980s. How many do you think were made in the 80s?
18.
So it's 25.93. So almost identical between the 80s and 90s. Okay. Now we think about like one of the those like heydays of horror, the 1970s. How many do you think there were?
18 a year.
Not bad, but 16. Well, I mean times 12, but 1,643. 1960s, it's only 772. In the 1950s, 339. In the 1940s, 176. Okay, so where am I going with this? Let's jump ahead.
Yeah, where are you going?
Let's go to the 2000s, RJ.
Okay.
Let's go to the future. You know the future?
Okay. So we were batting at around like 80s, 90s was what, 300?
Just under 3,000 per decade.
3,000 a decade.
Okay. So 2000, what do you got? As a guess.
For the early 2000s?
For the whole 2000, 2000s pre-2010.
Okay. I'm not sure where you're going with this.
The aughts. How many horror films do you think there are?
I don't know if it's higher or lower. I'm going to say 40 a year, so like 4,000.
5777. So there's a jump there, okay?
Yeah.
Now, how many do you think were made in the 2010s?
Less. I'm gonna under you. Let me say 2,000.
14,000.
So what is that, like quadrupled? Basically?
Yeah, it like tripled in like a decade. The last 10 years of horror. I mean, now, keep in mind that Letterboxd and online stuff exists.
Yeah.
We have YouTube in its full flourish. People are able to make films, but nonetheless, that doesn't make sense. Do you know how many have been made in the first 3 years of the 2020s?
5,000.
Or sorry, 6,193. The decade is only in its infancy. We're not even quite a third there, and we're already at that.
Yeah. So where's the influx, Jarrett?
The market. There's more of a market for horror than ever, and I think that in some ways that horror is sort of this. It kind of is the superhero genre in a lot of ways. It's like people don't want to talk about it that way, but there's definitely the market forces that are there, and also it's like, what does it say about culture? Why are people drawn to horror more now than ever before? Like the marketplace was there, but it never, like, if there was more, and it seemed like, because people talk about all 1930s horror films, they're such classics. It was like, well, there was very few of them, but now it's like because I was looking at mine. Because I kind of go through by decade, like when I'm picking these movies, like, what haven't I seen yet from this year? What haven't I seen from this year? But now it's like, you cannot keep up unless you you can't watch 1 month's worth of horror movies and think you're going to like see everything. It's like, no, there's like, I don't know, probably 30 a month that come out now. Like this, like, I know it's October and it seems like really skewed, but it's like, how the fuck are you supposed to keep up with this stuff?
Well, I mean, if anyone could do it, it'd be you, because you watch 100 movies a month. But then this month, I mean,
and maybe that's also why it seems like, oh, most of them aren't that good anymore. And you're like, well, yeah, because there's so many of them, and so very few of them are ever actually going to be that good. And I don't know, it feels like it's been a while since I've watched a good movie, but supposedly this Barbarian movie that is now available for stream as of today. For us, which I guess we'll have to check out maybe this next week.
I'm gonna get it this weekend. Yeah.
So people have that to look forward to. But it's like it's absolutely nuts how many films have come out like in the 2010s. When I saw 14,000 horror films, it's like, what the shit? I know a lot of people like log their indie-rific tiny little 10-minute horror thing. It's a lot easier to like keep track of this, but this still beats the math way too much. It's not like there's like all these decades of like lost films in the last 50 years. That's not.
So you think they're juking the stats a little bit?
I don't know if it's juking the stats. I think it just speaks to the strength,
the brand,
of horror marketing, and the desire for the public for it.
Yeah.
So just because you're a horror person doesn't make you special.
I mean, I've never thought I was special. Yeah. What about you?
Hanging out at the horror cons, with my Chucky tattoo.
Ooh, is that what you would get if you got a horror tattoo? Is it Chucky?
Hey, it's Brad Dourif's voice. I mean,
I know it is. I know, but I can't watch that movie because I have kinder trauma from it. Because my mom made me watch it when I was like 4 years old, and it scared the living shit out of me.
Just watch it. Being a baby.
I mean, I know, but I've told that story before. Like, it scared me, man.
Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, stupid Chucky.
So, Andrew, what have you been watching this week?
Well, I watched X like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't really like Ty West. I can see why he appeals to a lot of people. I like some of the stuff he does, but he strikes me as like, he is the definition of art house trash for me. Kind of like he's not doing anything too crazy.
That seems
no, not the definition, but like
that's hyperbolic.
Yeah, he I don't know. I don't think he's that good. Like he's taking stuff that he likes, he's putting it together, and it's like, yeah, that's what a lot of filmmakers do. But I just don't. I don't know. I haven't been able to actually like click with any of his movies. And you know what everyone's saying now? They're saying, "Oh, Pearl, yeah, that's the one. It's his masterpiece. It's way better than X." And so you'll watch it eventually, and you'll let me know. But yeah, I didn't really like it, and I thought the horny old person angle was like so ridiculous. I was just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I know everyone like it's about repressed sexuality and like the real villain, and I'm like, yeah, I get it, all right, I'm whatever. Like, so my point, Jarrett, is that I am not into X. It is not my brand.
Yeah, I rewatched The House of the Devil
I saw that
for the first time since I saw it on DVD when I bought it, and I watched it. Well, that's a movie that I remember when I watched way back when. The poster's amazing. And
Tom Noonan is cool. The intro's cool.
And this movie is part of that renaissance of kind of retro horror that was also more like I would always think of like more Grindhouse, but House of the Devil, there was something in the water because you had Devil's Rejects, House of the Devil, Death Proof and Planet Terror, all that stuff. It was all coming out at the exact same time. Everybody was seizing on it. Was like that post torture porn genre.
Post Eli Roth.
He was on the way out. Hostel 2 came, but this was like a hey, let's get back into that slow grow, even though it's got like lots of big bursts of violence in it, which it's like, it's like Taxi Driver. So this is the highlight of this is, of course, Tom Noonan being tall. Mira Warnov's like doesn't really do too much, but do you know who's in this movie that I had no recollection of whatsoever?
Isn't her friend a really popular actress?
Greta Gerwig.
That's what I remembered. It was someone, I just couldn't remember who.
Yeah, I had no idea that she was in this, and I was watching it. I went, Greta Gerwig, and then there she is, and she's not in it for very long.
Isn't that like the?
Yes, yeah, the
spoilers, Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I see that was the one Ty West that I did like was House of the Devil.
I think it's that AJ Bowen guy that's a real fan of or friend of some horror podcasts out there, and they always talk about him. And it's like, oh yeah.
Speaking of AJ, we didn't mention X has a character named RJ who gets spoken about all.
I think
the time
I talked about it.
I remember you did.
Yeah, or there's an
I got a couple good screenshots of it.
Oh, yeah. Now you got screenshots with subtitles. It's beautiful.
With subtitles, yep. I only took screenshots of the RJ stuff because I'm vain.
The most upsetting bit in House of the Devil is, if you remember, so Jocelyn Donahue, she orders pizza from like the Satanist.
I remember that
from the Satanist pizza house. Yeah. And so of course there's like her waiting for the pizza. It seems like it takes a real long time. And then of course it's like a guy whose face you don't see. He delivers the pizza and she just like throws the $20 at him, and then she slams the door. But then she like slams the door. She puts her back to the door and starts sliding down the door with the pizza vertical against her torso. To which I go, she's ruined the pizza.
It would crumble down to the bottom. All those slices
into a schlump.
Yeah.
And then
these are the details that the Ty West enthusiasts neglect purposefully.
Yeah. It's the truths they don't want to be acknowledged. They live in denial.
I know, and it's horseshit, Jared.
So you watched X and you were nonplussed.
I was, I don't know what else to say other than I don't think Ty West is my guy.
He's not your guy. That's
he's
fine.
Not my, and that's fine.
I think he's real, as the kids say, mid. He's real mid, RJ.
Yeah, not based, but not cringe, but mid. Yeah, I don't know. It's all bad.
It's all bad.
I know why people like him, but not for me.
Yeah.
You know what? I followed that up with. I chased it with a real Jarrett pick.
What's that?
Little Wolf Creek.
Oh baby, yeah. You watched this. Was that like right after we recorded 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, these movies are a long time ago. I watched this on October 12th.
So Wolf Creek,
two full weeks ago.
Speaking of the Splat Pack movies, talking about the torture porn era, that before Ty West came along, we had Greg McLean taking us to the outback.
Is that the director, or is that the Ernest character?
Isn't that like Jarrett or something like that?
It's something like Jared.
Yeah, it is something like that. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's the director who also directed Rogue, which is also about a killer crocodile quotation marks movie.
Oh, also in Australia.
Crikey.
We all know. I was kind of stunned at the intro to this movie, the statistic that every year there are 30,000 missing persons reports in Australia.
Now they don't follow it up though with how many are immediately found.
Yeah, and then it says 90% are found later. Yeah. So I was like, there's 3,000 missing people a year in Australia.
Well, they don't say whether or not they're still missing. They just maybe they're found dead.
Yes, that too.
They might not be just missing.
Well, who is missing, right, Jer?
Yeah.
So I checked out your review of this, and it seems like your Wolf Creek is a movie that makes you a little uncomfortable, huh? Yeah. Or not uncomfortable, but it's one of those ones that you go, ooh.
I think when you were about to watch it, I went, I don't know, man. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you're going to feel about this movie. It's a little rough. It's a bit like unrelenting in grimness.
Mm-hmm. It's not all the way. It does get there.
It gets there.
Yeah. Like, I'd say the first 15 minutes is okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The first, 45 minutes are fine.
Yeah. And then you see this nice old guy, and he's like, I'll take you. I'll take you out. That's Australian, Jared. You know what I mean? Yep. Crack you. No, I liked Wolf Creek. It is rough, but I do think it's not. I think I was expecting worse for some reason.
John Jarrett.
John Jarrett.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was expecting worse, but it is a rough show, and you're watching and you're just like, ugh. You're like, so many bucket hats in this movie, so much people just walking through broken glass, and it's like, I think the thing about it is there's nothing too outlandish about it. Like, there isn't like slasher logic to this guy. Like, they knock him out once and he's kind of out for like an hour or so, and they kind of get away a little bit, but then he wakes up and he's kind of back. So it's not like he's always there, and they kind of make a little headway, but they're like so banged up that they can't get that far by it. So I don't know. No, I did enjoy it. Yeah.
You get some spinal cords.
You get a little spinal tapping. Yeah.
The sounds.
Oh, there's some sounds, all right. There's some big sounds, Jared.
Big sounds.
But yeah, so it's like I said, these movies are about 2 weeks back now, so I'm getting a little foggy on it. But I did like Wolf Creek, and I was like, fuck, this is rough. And this has a bunch of sequels, right?
And a TV series that is that is in the canon. It is part of the universe.
So what is it? Every week you see a different missing person story where they get brutally murdered by some Australian guy.
It's like Breaking Bad sort of storytelling where it's like one story. about, I don't know, I've never
Are you
seen it.
rooting for the bad guy?
Well, you always root for John Jarrett. He's so charming.
Remember when he's driving his hot rod car and he's like, "Mrrr," and he's got his sniper gun? That part's pretty cool.
There's a web horror show, actually. So it was on something called Stan. It's a spin-off. Yeah, he came back for the role. The first season consisted of 6 episodes. The episodes, there's 2 seasons of it, total of 12, and they're anywhere from 43 to 61 minutes long.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Crikey. Weird.
America loves Mick.
Yeah. It's so weird. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on Wolf Creek?
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
I think it's good. Like, it's actually a well-made movie. I think
is.
it establishes the 3 characters as likable enough.
Yep.
Like, they're very normal.
They're not annoying.
Yeah, they have some run-ins with some of the town folk.
Yes, they do.
And then you're like, oh shit, there's some tension there. But because like if you've ever seen any ads for this, you're like, oh shit, nothing really goes down till they meet Mick, and then now they're fucked. They're fucked.
Yeah. And I do think the intro of the Mick guy is really well done because he's like a lovable guy. That's why I was like, this guy's like earnest. He's like cracking like really dumb jokes, and he's just like, he just seems welcoming. He's just like, I'll have you fixed up, no problem. He's like, that's what we do here in Australia.
It's in Scotland.
We take care of each other in Scotland, Australia. Yeah. So like he is like convincingly like because I think one of the problem people have with a lot of these movies, it's like, well, how would anyone fall into this situation? It's like, well, it happens every day in real life, but also it's just like this guy is like when you're in that spot and you have no other options, but also he seemed like a likable guy. He's just kind of like, hey, what's up? And then as it progresses and you see the drugging take place, and then I think what it is, like one of the big things is as they're kind of exploring, like the one girl is exploring, you see like the extent of how much this guy has just been kidnapping and killing people, and you're just like, whew. Because like not this guy specifically, but like Wolf Creek is based off of like people they actually found, right?
Yeah, there's a guy who this is based off of.
Yeah.
Or so two, I think it's like 2 serial killers.
Yeah, and like because I was thinking about that, I was like, fuck, down in Australia, it'd be pretty easy to just make someone disappear. It's Australian Jerry for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Oliver knows all about that. Uh-huh. But yeah, it would be pretty easy, or not easy, but like he'd be like, where'd that guy go? And he's like, I don't know, he drove off into the fucking desert one day and never came back. And it's like, okay. So
I also mentioned this does have a F from Cinema Score. So it
really?
joins. Yeah, it does. People,
why?
Because people because this is the flaw with it. People come out of this movie and they're asked, "What did you think of this movie?" They go, "Fucking hated it." Because it's like
vile.
They don't like it. They're like, I don't like to feel this way, and so it's F. And it's like, well, it's not a badly made movie at all. I don't know if you can watch this movie and think that. No. But so I mean, yeah.
I mean, I think it's doing what horror is intended to do, right?
Yeah.
It's making you uncomfortable, and you're just like, oh.
Blackometer.
On the Blackometer, I wouldn't say it's full black, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's pretty close.
I don't know. The whole like escape attempt is like pretty harrowing stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh god.
Yeah, I do like when she's that old dude in the bucket hat tries to help her, and then just. and that's when you get Hot Rod Ernest, and he's driving, or Hot Rod Mick, and he's ripping around driving like 400 miles an hour, and you're just like, god damn. Yeah, so Wolf Creek's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you about one, and then some shorts really quick, because I don't have a ton to say, but I watched The Crazies.
Okay.
Like the Romero one, and I've seen the remake.
Yeah, with Oliphant.
With Oliphant. I was gonna rewatch that, but I don't think I'll have time. But I remember I really liked the preview for the remake when it came out, because it's got that song Mad World that was in the Gears of War commercial. Uh-huh. And it was just like people doing crazy stuff, and like I remember liking that, and I think I liked the movie, but I probably saw that when it came out, which was, I don't know, I was probably like 16 or something, so I don't know. But I watched this, and this is a lot more I don't want to say methodical, but like very similar plot, you know, It's a town. There's some kind of contagion. The military's coming in. No one really knows what's happening. But you do see a lot of just kind of like military protocol stuff. It's like, well, we're gonna do this and do that, and you're just like, okay. And that kind of happens for a while.
Yep.
And you're like, is anything else gonna happen? And then it doesn't really.
It's lesser Romero.
Yeah, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I think it is something that would benefit from a remake in a sense. I don't remember. I can't remember if that remake is actually good or not.
Right.
So the Crazies was fine. I was glad I watched it. The one thing I did like was there was a scene where the quarantine guys are going through like the bodies and they're just taking stuff that they want. They're like taking out like jewelry and then they're throwing the bodies into like a burn barrel. And I was just like, yeah. I was like, I get that. That's cool. I get that. And then I watched a bunch of shorts that Jarrett told me to watch. Like, yeah. Don't Look Away. Don't Look Away. The dad acting is just unbelievable.
I've got a new one for you. If you want to watch what has to be some of the worst acting I've seen since that short film.
Okay.
The production now. This is a new one. It's called Recursion from 2018.
Recursion.
So the production of this is incredible. It looks really good. But holy fuck, every single performance is unbelievably
top notch.
Bad. Unbelievably bad. It's up there with Dad.
I'll watch some Recursion. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's almost like expected that the doctor doing something like Dr. Wywee.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'll check out that. But yeah, Don't Look Away is pretty dumb. You already talked about it, and then I heard it too. I've seen this before. I think I watched it before it was loggable on Letterboxd or something. But I've seen it, and I was watching it, and I was like, oh, I know what this is. And then it happens, and I go, oh
no.
Was this the inspiration for Mama? Well, that was based on a short too, actually, that Guillermo del Toro produced, Mama.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched Don't Make Me a Sandwich, or Make Me a Sandwich. Fuck, I keep getting it wrong. Make Me a Sandwich, and I want Jared to watch this, so I'm not gonna say anything about that. And then I rewatched Alma, which again I started it and I was like, I think I've seen this before, and then I watched it and I was like, I have seen this before.
Yeah.
And I went, shit. All right. So I don't know. That was a couple movies. I can keep going, or if you want to go.
I can talk about some stuff. I watched this movie called Bloodlink, which I would say, yeah, this is borderline more of a thriller. Actually, no, this is 100% more of a thriller than a horror film. It stars Michael Moriarty. You know Michael Moriarty?
I do know Michael Moriarty. Yeah, big fan.
This guy that everyone loves. That I think is
he. Yeah, I mean, I said big fan. I'm not actually, but people do go shit their pants.
They apparently shit their pants, and I don't understand it. Yeah. I think he's. I did watch Troll as well, which he's also in.
Oh yeah,
by coincidence. Yeah. But so Bloodlink though, this is a movie where he's got to do some heavy lifting, because it turns out he's a doctor in New York, I'm going to say. But he's getting visions. And it's very confusing because you're like, what's going on? And then at some point they let you on, oh, there's two of them. They're twins and they're in different cities.
Prestige style?
But, well, they don't know. Well, one thought that the other one was dead. But it turns out they're both doctors, but one of them is a maniac. But they can also apparently now see through each other's eyes.
Yeah, I mean, no, I get it. Yeah, I get it. I've seen a horror movie before. Yeah. I know how that works.
So he's like, oh man, my brother, he's like killing women and he's being a real bad dude, and I should do something about this. And then the other brother's like, yes, you, because he also killed their parents back when. And then it turns into, he goes to like, Hamburg, and I'm just like, they're like, oh sure, you have a twin brother who died 20 years ago who faked his death and he's actually dead. Oh yeah, he's killing all the people that look exactly like you. Sure buddy, let's go. And so he has to prove his innocence, and the brother's scheming away, but also like fucking all this guy's women.
He was doing what?
He's fucking them all. He's having sex with them. But he's inadequate, RJ. He's an inadequate lover, which also drives him to kill.
Why was he inadequate?
I don't know. He can't get it up. Yeah, so he's really unsatisfying, and that's how the women can identify him. Also, because they were not only they weren't just twins, they were conjoined twins, and they have one's got a scar on the left, the other one's got a scar on the right, and that's supposed to be there, but it's like it's harder to keep track of that, isn't it? And
that seems to be a trend.
Let me tell you, Michael Moriarty, he's no Jeremy Irons.
Who is?
Yeah, this really does feel like some real Dead Ringers light.
On a scale of Dead Ringers to Basket Case, where does it fall? Malignant?
Whoa. You didn't say that, things like that.
Well, you can edit that out.
Yeah, this is skippable stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're a big fan?
Big fan, huge. Clearly, you can tell from my
enthusiasm
in my voice.
What was this called? Blood Link?
Blood Link.
Okay. The poster's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the film American Gothic?
I know the TV show.
Well, did you
American Gothic?
Maybe you've looked up American Gothic before and seen the poster for American Gothic from 1987, which the poster is a take on the painting American Gothic.
How come that never happened in the TV show?
Hey, remember Rod Steiger? Remember him?
Rod Steiger?
Rod Steiger. You know this old man.
Oh, yeah, I know Rod Steiger.
Yeah, you know him. And Michael J. Pollard, who you'll remember being in like tons of movies that you've seen. He's in original Star Trek episodes, or that one episode, I think Muri, he's in.
Definitely remember him from Sleepaway Camp 3, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. And Wild Angels.
So this is a movie about a bunch of chotches whose boat gets them stranded on this weird little forested island that is only populated by this old kooky family that they're God-fearing folk, and they just kill people when they come to the island. That's the twist. But there's some real there's like petrified baby corpses getting broken in half. People getting like killed elaborately with swings that also are right by cliff faces. It's like why did you climb and get into the boat? Why did you get into the swing? I don't understand.
I'm not disliking the sound of that.
So I didn't hate this movie. This was a minifig assembly film. But it wasn't bad. Like it totally scratches that itch if you want kind of like a middle tier 80s horror that you've never seen, but you might remember from like the video gallery in the horror section. You're like, you would never pay money to rent this, but it's on Tubi, and that means the price is right, and it's totally worth a watch. It's fine. You get some mullets, you get some like way too well choreographed dance scenes where you're like, I don't think that these like chachi 80 kids would know how to dance the Charleston. That's just me.
Isn't that what people are saying about that new Top Gun movie? Was that it was unbelievable that like 30-year-olds would know the words to Great Balls of Fire? Or some that was a criticism I heard. I'm being honest. That was a criticism I heard.
Yeah,
so like,
I mean, it still made whatever $1 billion. So
I mean, yeah, I know. Yeah.
I think it's like 1.5 billion. I think.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm finally seeing RJ's picks from X.
My picks.
RJ.
Those are the only ones.
RJ. It's smut.
Yeah. I like the one where he's on the ground naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad. You
can feel free to use those in any way that you need to.
Ew. No thanks.
Well, you might like.
Hey, RJ, you know William Lustig, the director of Maniac and Maniac Cop, Maniac Cop 2, Vigilante, Maniac Cop 3. Well, RJ, are you familiar with a little movie that he also directed called Uncle Sam?
I am not. Does it hit those levels of Maniac Cop?
No. I remember this had a lenticular cover at the video store because it was like a Jack Frost lenticular cover.
Yeah.
So this was Uncle Sam. You're like, oh man, is like Uncle Sam back and he's pissed?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Is Joe Spinell in this?
He is not, because Joe Spinell was dead by this point. But this does have William Smith, who you'll remember.
Like Will Smith?
William Smith.
Oh.
You'll remember from such hot classics as The Grave of the Vampire.
Oh.
Yeah, he shows up here.
Okay.
There's also, I think, the one that like threw me off, because I was like, who is this? And then like I was like looking away, painting minis. And then I'm like, was that Chef? And I'm like, holy shit, it's Isaac Hayes. But I was just like, because I look at him and I heard him talking, but I'm like, well, who is this? And then, but when I didn't look at him, I heard the voice only, and I'm like, holy shit. I went like Isaac Hayes is in live action form in 1996.
I mean, he dabbled.
No.
Not often, but he dabbled.
So this movie, you know that movie Death Dream that people really, really like? That's like not that awesome, in fact. This is like that, but worse. Way worse.
Ooh.
This is not
worse, you
this
say?
Is way worse. Yeah, this is trying to make this is a statement film. It's got some political statements. This is about the Iraq War, but it's like Gulf War One. And so it's like he died. It's like he died for his country, and so there's this like his nephew who like really worships the fact that his uncle like died a soldier for his country, and it's like taking on all these lessons of military time. All it kind of like this kid doesn't realize is like this guy was like a real bad dude and a real piece of shit and an abuser. Who like tortured and tormented his like lovers and sisters and family alike, and they're like all like relieved that he never came back and he's dead. But guess what? They bring his body back, and then he reanimates, and he's running around wearing Uncle Sam outfit because it's the 4th of July, and he's killing people because they don't trust, they don't believe in his country or something.
Or something.
Can
you fill in that gap there?
But how about the tagline is, I want you dead. And he's pointing.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm on board with that. That alone would have made me watch it. I would have been like, okay.
Yes, sir, Mr. Sam. Oh, yeah. And RJ, his name is actually Sam, and he's an uncle.
Well, obviously.
Obviously.
Obvious, like naturally.
But
why would they fuck
what's
around
cool
with
is like, so if you look at the banner image of this in Letterboxd, you can see like he's wearing the mask, but you see like the ghoul eyes.
I do see the ghoul eyes, which I think are also kind of cool. Yeah. Is that a mask though, or is that his face?
That's a mask over over the corpse.
It would have been cooler if that was just his face.
Yeah,
I think.
Oh
well.
You know what movie holds up real nice?
What's that?
Slugs.
I thought Slugs was okay. Slugs is one of those ones Slugs is gross. Sometimes I don't like the gross ones. I think I had Slugs as okay on my end, but I know you're a big Slugs boy.
Well, I'm a Juan Picour Simon fan, the director of this and Pieces, which also got to rewatch this Creeptober, and
Pieces is cool.
They're sweet movies. There's like the one actor who crosses over between them. I don't know what his name is, but he's in Slugs. I think he's like the police chief, or like he's the manager of the city, and he's just like, I think they always call him like a fat piece of shit. The lard ass, he's too lazy to do anything about it, and he's just like eating like a sandwich in his office, just a sandwich.
Just a sandwich?
No.
Well, I wouldn't think that'd be fair to call him a piece of shit. No.
But yeah, people just get fucking killed left and right in Slugs. Yeah,
that's cool though.
Horrifically, it's great. The music is beyond belief of how safe it is and loud, blaring. In fact,
like Texas Chainsaw 2 levels, or
not quite. Maybe not there yet, but I'm gonna have to revisit TCM2 at some point.
This year? This year you're going to?
No, not this year. But at some point I will. But I mean, if people, Slugs, Tubi, come on.
I think a friend of the show, Ryan Nagel, is a Slugs man too. I think. Yeah. I don't know. I like stuff like that, but like the Bug, kind of like gross out movies. Like, I don't like bugs, Jared. You know this about me.
Also on Tubi.
And I know slugs aren't bugs.
Well, if you don't like slugs, what about worms? You could watch Squirm.
No, see, that'd be my nightmare.
So Squirm is like got some cool set pieces, but holy shit, it takes forever. It's like there's scenes where it is just characters going between places and talking about things. There's no excuse for it. No excuse.
That sounds good.
No. Jeff
Oh, it's
Lieberman,
bad?
who's directed such
I know that
classics.
name.
Well, he's the director of Just Before Dawn, which I'm a huge fan of. I think it's like one
Yeah.
of the best backwards slashers around. Blue Sunshine, which I need to rewatch. But most recently, I think there's a director's cut of it that just came out of Satan's Little Helper.
Ooh.
No.
Is it a Christmas film?
Yeah, it's a Christmas horror.
Okay.
When I watched it, I gave it 1.5 stars, so it's going to be real good. It's from 2004, so it's latter day Jeff Lieberman. He also directed the movie Remote Control, which I've not yet watched. Oh, he also directed something called Dr. Franken with Marvin Chomsky, which also stars Robert Vaughn, everyone's favorite Robert Vaughn.
I think I know Dr. Franken.
Okay.
I think I'm aware of Dr. Franken.
You're aware of his work.
Yeah. I'm aware.
Yeah, Squirm's fine to throw on if you like, especially if you like a man talking about egg creams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched. I mean, I'm not into egg creams, but I watched Remote Control like 2 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
I don't think I was big into it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it has lots of lols.
Yeah,
You know
like
what I-
lols.
Not lols.
LOL.
Not LOLs, like
the bad kind of lols.
smell-OLs, like this smells.
The
kind of
smell.
thing.
I see.
Yeah.
RJ, I don't know if I've gotten to it. Did I talk about Troll?
I mean, you've kind of talked about Troll a couple times.
Okay.
Like this week and last week also.
Okay, and did I talk about Troll 2? Did I talk about?
You talked about Troll 2. Well, you talked about watching Troll 2 and Best Worst movie. You didn't get into like detail, but you did. You mentioned them.
Okay. The only thing I want to go back to, if I didn't say it before, was rewatching Best Worst Movie, which is on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And the other two on Tubi. Best Worst Movie. It really just skims over the importance of the internet in the fandom. It's just like a 100 guys with flat caps and very manicured beards. Talking about like how they discover Troll 2, it seems like, or at least they aren't prompted to say, hey, how did you find out about this movie? And they go, I remember getting it from the video store. It's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, I see. Like, I wouldn't believe that either. It's like, no, that movie was like completely.
You found out about it from. Well, I mean, it never even came out in theater, so I mean, it was straight to video. Yeah. And there's a few enterprising horror fiends who watched it and were like, holy shit, these scenes are amazing. And it just built up this reputation, and people would start checking it out. But the only reason people know about it, I'm going to say, is probably because of like YouTube or like those sites that like that proto YouTube stuff where it was like Real Player, where you had to like wait 5 minutes for your file to download on a DSL, and you'd get like a 30-second clip of saying, oh my god, they're eating her. And after that, they're going to eat me.
Oh my god!
And that's all people know. That's how people were introduced to it. And there's not a single mention of the internet's prevalence in the life of it, other than there's like the dentist who's like, "Oh, look at that! I got a website. I showed my daughter. Look how many likes I got on MySpace."
I feel like I'm getting mixed messages from you tonight, because when I was talking about X, you told me to get off of the internet, but now it seems like the internet is the gateway to things such as Troll. But the internet's only ever served me wrong.
Well, let me tell you, I've got one coming that is very much about my what do I follow people for? They all mislead me, and they can mislead you toward things away from things that you actually won't mind. People like to hate on things, RJ, but we'll get there.
What?
No. Hey, you know what movie we can both talk about that I think is actually pretty cool?
What's that?
And this was I only watched this because you watched it, and I was like, well, it's on Shudder, so why not? Hard Rock Zombies.
This movie is incredibly cool, Jared. And I gotta say, this movie has the biggest swerve. Yeah, that I was just like, I didn't even write it in my review because I was like, I can't spoil that. It is such like, you know exactly what I mean. Like the reveal, the mask off. I was like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, okay. Talk about Hard Rock Zombies, because this movie does fucking rock.
Where do you begin? So it's a bunch of like, I don't even think these aren't even like hard rock dudes.
No,
these
is like
these are
glam
rocky, glam metals, heavy like metal, soft ballads, and they're like horny dudes, and then they play in a small town that doesn't like music, so they're being policed on that. But then they run afoul of some bad dudes, and there's one guy where I'm like, this actor sure looks a lot like Heinrich Himmler a lot.
The bald guy?
Yeah, I was like the whole time like, man, they really found a guy that looks like Heinrich Himmler. And I'm like, oh. And then it's like fucked up. Like there's weird little people running around, and people taking photos and people being tortured and killed.
Version.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a normal little guy, and then there's a troll little guy. But then there's a guy who takes pictures of people as they're dying.
The name of this town, Grand Guignol.
Sounds like a soup. And we like our soup, yeah. Jared.
This movie's got everything.
There's also there is like a sexy lady, and then there's like werewolf grandma. Don't forget about werewolf grandma.
I couldn't forget.
Yeah, and like a genuine werewolf too, not like she's just hairy. Like no, she is an openly and acknowledged werewolf grandma, so she's in the mix as well. And then, so yeah, these the glam rockers, they come to the town. They're playing shows, and they get threatening messages basically to not even come to the town from like a girl visits the band and like talks to the lead singer who looks like Dean from Fubar, kind of like you remember Dean from Fubar, like
yep.
With that's who he looks like, and he's the heartthrob of this movie, obviously. So she's like, don't come to the town. He's like, we're gonna come anyways, baby. And then he shows up, and like these guys like. The town is basically like, the stage is locked, and all your equipment is lost. Guess you can't play your Satan music, bud.
Mm-hmm.
And there is the guy's talking to the girl, which also is a little bit problematic because it's kind of implied that she's like really young. Like I'm like 13, 14, 15 maybe.
Yeah, well, it's Hard Rock Zombies, RJ.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
And it's from a film from it's a horror comedy from 1985.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed.
No rules.
I know. I don't know if you noticed, Jared, but my post today on the Instagram was from Hard Rock Zombies.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, it's a 2-picture one. I thought it worked so well with what we're doing here and what we do every year. I was just like, I was sitting on this for 2 weeks because I was like, that's perfect for Ghoul School.
Ooh.
Perfect.
Oh, I see it. See, ghouls are the antithesis of intellectual existence. In the ghoul, the brain dissolves.
See, it's good. It's good. It's fitting. Do you want me to talk about what this movie, what happens, like briefly, or?
Yeah, go right on ahead.
So like these hard rockers, they're like staying at this like bed and breakfast with all those weird people, and they're like doing a practice basically, but like a show for the people that they're staying with. Like I guess like because they asked, they're like, "Will you do a show for us?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll do like as our practice." And as they're doing their show, some weird stuff happens, and like one of the guys gets electrocuted, and they're like, "This is weird. We don't like staying here. You guys suck." He's like, "We're gonna stay somewhere else tomorrow night." And then the people in the house are like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." But then throughout the night, our heroes get picked off one by one. One of them gets taken out by Grandma Werewolf. One of them gets taken out by one of the little guys. One of them gets taken out by the bald dude. Mm-hmm. So they all get taken out by one of them, and then they get buried there basically. And I don't know if I should reveal the big one. Should I say who's in this movie? Who stars?
No. Let people find out for themselves.
I do think the ending is like it's so poetic in how that character dies, because you know what they kill that guy in, right? Mm-hmm. So anyways, these our heroes are dead, and this girl is like, oh no, and then like this family, which is kind of like a Texas Chainsaw family of like weirdos, they like go around and they maybe kill someone else or something, and they're starting to like do other things, but like the town thinks it was the rockers kind of, but the girl goes and plays the music, like the song that this guy wrote for her basically, and it awakens our heroes, our glam rockers from the grave, and now they have like Kiss makeup on. Yeah. And the best part is they do zombie walk, but they do it to like a beat where it's kind of like and like they move their arms and their legs to like the beat of the music, and I was like, oh yeah. I was like, that's what I'm here for. So our zombie rockers go and they start taking revenge on this family, and then they go to their show because they were supposed to play for like a talent scout, and now they're zombies playing, but then other people are getting reanimated in the town, and so they're becoming zombies too, and then they have to fight like the leader of the family of bad guys. I think that's a lot of what this thing is. One of those little guys, there's scenes of him, you cut away to him and he's just eating stuff, and every like 10 minutes it cuts back to him and he keeps eating like things, and you're just like, that's cool. This movie's awesome. Hard Rock Zombies is it was a lot of fun. I was watching it, I was like, this is probably gonna be like a Joe Bob like next year or something. Maybe because it's on Shudder, so they already have the rights to it, right? But I was like, I wish this was just what they had on for Joe Bob this year, but it wasn't. I thought this movie was cool. What about you?
Yeah, I'm here for it, RJ. This is good.
Oh yeah. Anything else to add on Hard Rock Zombies?
No, other than I had no expectations, but I didn't realize that. Again, this is last week or a week or two ago. We were talking about one of the movies we checked out, and I was like, yeah, it just feels like a trauma movie in the worst ways. Dead Time Stories.
Oh yeah,
I think
I've watched half an hour of Dead Time Stories.
Oh well, you've got the other half to watch. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
that last half is that'll get you.
I've been watching that at work in my off time.
That's perfect.
Because it's on.
Hard Rock,
I don't. Yeah.
Hard Rock Zombies feels like a trauma movie.
Yeah, I've been watching. It took me about 4 days to watch that 30 minutes because I don't get a lot of downtime. But I was, so I have been watching it. I will get it logged, but yeah, Hard Rock's cool, man.
Yeah.
Hard Rock's cool. The other like rock movies on Shudder right now, I don't think they
Rocktober horror.
Well, Rocktober Blood.
Oh, Blood, yeah.
Yeah, I think I talked about that one. That one's got some cool stuff, but that one's not good. But the other one I watched was not very good.
Is that Slaughterhouse Rocks?
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with rock. It's really like it's not a rock and roll one. It's this guy who like it's
a vampire. It looks like on the poster.
No, it's weird. It's like a demon possession movie. It's a guy who like he has like glimpses of Alcatraz, and he's like, I think I need to go to Alcatraz. And you're like, okay. This movie's really weird. It's got some images that are really cool. Like it's just like, oh man, that looks right. Like they use a lot of blue light in this, and it's like ghoulish guys and stuff like that. But it's so boring, this thing. And like I wrote in my review, like 50 minutes in, they do a recap of the cool scenes, and I think it's just like because they're like, we know that you're losing interest, but here's the cool stuff we've done already.
Yeah,
is like see, we did have cool stuff.
Remember the good times?
Like they're yeah, exactly. There's a cool scene where someone punches through another guy's head, and I was like, that's really cool. But the rock part of Slaughterhouse Rock, like I think is literally just the recap. It's like a Cyndi Lauper kind of person that's like, whoo, and then it like recaps all those scenes. But that's it. There's no other rocking in this, which I felt like I was misled. You know what I mean?
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, but
how dare they?
How dare they? So you watched Hard Rock Zombies.
Yep.
Anything else?
Did I watch anything else?
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to talk about Hell House yet.
We can if you want.
Okay. Well, one thing though, you haven't watched Deadstream yet, right?
No.
Are you going to?
I would like to try to.
You should.
Do you want to talk about them together?
Yeah. We should talk about Deadstream because you should definitely watch it for next week.
Okay. I could definitely get Deadstream done before next week.
Yeah.
And then for Hell House, I have the second one watched as well.
Because we'll talk about it probably this week. But you watched VHS 99. And I'm assuming that you, like all right-thinking citizens of Creepsville, I would hope, and the world would say that the final story that the directing team worked on when they go to hell is a highlight, I think, of the anthology.
It is that one is the highlight for sure, and then the kids show one.
Yes,
which I think is what everyone is saying.
Right? I think everyone's on the same page in terms of like, hey, that's interesting, but particularly so all that like is there with Deadstream, but they have to extend it. So I mean, I think now I think my liking of. I think I like Deadstream more
because of VHS.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely watch. So I gotta ask you, is that an Andy pick? Do you think I could persuade her into that or no?
How does she feel about found footage? Essentially, is the question.
She doesn't mind it. She doesn't mind
yeah,
it.
I think so. It's fun. It is like it has a sense of humor to it.
Like I didn't watch Hell House with her, but like I think she would really like Hell House, but she would actually get scared by it.
Well,
and she doesn't like being scared. So
yeah, I mean, like, because like Mabel is also in Deadstream to it, not Mabel though, but the actor.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, and the dude who's filming in that last one he's the star of Deadstream, isn't he?
He is, and
because I saw his picture on the Deadstream.
Yeah, that's the director. Yeah, Joseph Winter or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I'll watch Deadstream.
Yeah, no, I would definitely make a point of getting to that. But okay, maybe I'll talk about Boar, which you've seen, I think.
I've seen Boar.
Yeah,
baby.
You've seen Boar. You know about Australia. You know about John Jarrett.
I know Oliver Granger. He's kind of like in the mix here.
You know about former WWE superstar Nathan Jones?
I do.
Who took the WWE for a ride? He was like, "Yeah, I'll go on tour with you guys to Australia," and then he went, "Yeah, I'm not coming home. Thanks for the lift."
That's pretty incredible.
I think it's like he's one of those guys that got one up over the McMahons, and I don't know how they feel about that. Maybe one day they're going to get him, but
I mean, they might. You know who else is in Boar?
Bill Moseley.
Mm-hmm.
He's a total dad though.
Yes, he is.
But man, RJ, what a voice he has. Maybe one of the finest voices there is. It's so. Okay. I know I know that you're on the fence about Bill Moseley, but I'm not saying he's no Brad Dourif, but I think his voice is really good. Like he doesn't sound like anybody else, but he's just got this like general voice that you're like, oh, it's not so special. But it's like, no, nobody talks like him. Like his Rufus Firefly, whatever his fucking goes by. He I don't know. He's so good at that character, and it's like because he's so matter of fact.
Yeah, no, I don't mind. Like Bill Moseley does have a good voice. It's just the two things he's most known for: Texas Chainsaw 2 and Rob Zombie movies. My mileage varies a little bit, but I do like some of his Rob Zombie stuff. I do like him in that because I'm not like. I can't remember what it was. You can talk about the other one later, but like Devil's Rejects is a good movie.
Yeah,
I haven't seen House of a Thousand Corpses in a long, long time, so I don't remember. But
I've never been a fan. But
a Thousand Corpses or Devil's Rejects?
Thousand Corpses. Devil Rejects, I do like. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bill Moseley's cool in that, but I think that character is kind of like his Texas Chainsaw 2. Well, actually, not really. That guy's like a hippie. I don't know. Whatever.
What do you know about giant mutant boars?
I mean. I spend most of my time with one outside. You know what I mean?
No.
We call Mongo. He's got a forehead like a drive-in. You know what I mean, Jared?
Mm-hmm. So,
oh boy,
boar.
Tell me about boar.
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's just this. I don't know, people getting horribly devoured and maimed by a boar that's just traversing the landscape, and people just like show up and go, "Huh, what's that? Hey, there's all these little boars running away." And then the giant boar shows up and knocks over their car and fucks them up. And that's it.
Sounds like a Jarrett pick.
Lots of people get picked off, way more than you'd expect. And then it's basically down to like the family, and I don't know. It's whatever. Again, this was definitely nothing jumped out enough at me where I was like, oh, I gotta start paying attention when I was doing other things.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So big boar guy over here is what he's saying.
Big boar boy.
Big boar boy.
But do you know what movie kept my attention was Dark Glasses from a master of horror, Dario Argento.
So Shudder did a thing which is actually kind of cool. They started, I think it was October 1st or something. They did a secret viewing where it was like a movie on their like channel or whatever, and they showed Dark Glasses. And I think I opened Shudder that day and I saw like 3 minutes of this movie. And I was just like, what is this? And then I was watching it, and then it was like Argento, and went, oh,
Latte Argento. But let me say though, it's probably his best work in decades. But I mean, what's that say? Like the bar is pretty low.
Yeah.
People's throats get slashed. People get blinded. They have to protect like little Chinese boys, and maniacs are like, again, this is a common theme of like some of these movies I've watched recently, where it's like the police are just helpless to do anything. They're always getting hit by cars. That's like how you take cops out. That's their kryptonite is vehicles. It turns out when you hit them with a car, they die, like in real life.
I mean, that is how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, it's not a giallo. It's hard because other than there's like some black love action, and I think I mentioned to you the other week where it's like, how do you feel about dog head puppets? Because they're back, baby. They're back.
I mean, I prefer that over other means. You know.
Do you like?
I prefer that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you with my hand puppet. So that's fine.
That's
Dark Glasses is
a movie.
It's a movie. It's I would just say it's like inoffensive. I mean, in the sense that it's like, well, it's an Argento movie about a maniac killing prostitutes, and then one of them gets away. So he's got to try to seal the deal, and that's it. That's the movie. She's a suspect.
That's the show.
Yeah, that's the joke.
Yeah.
I had on the movie Sator, which is on Shudder.
And
yeah, nothing. This is so drawn out, and I feel like this is like there's always this movie every year that I watch that you're like, I want this to be so much better, and then there is one little spooky bit, where you go, oh, and then
but then nothing
at the end
else.
of the day you're just like, oh yeah, this just feels like some real Adam Wingard territory. Like, and like this is the sort of stuff that like Ty West and Adam Wingard are responsible for.
I know.
But
See,
they feel like minimalism is actually better. Sometimes you're like, no, I want hard rock zombies.
I want like so like in your face.
I want maximalism. I want too much, because there's no such. Sometimes you do. I know that it's all a matter of execution, though. Sometimes, but yeah, Seder. I don't know. I might not have been fully paying attention to this one, but I kind of watched like Boar, Dark Glasses, Seder, like pretty much 3 in a row. And I mean, Boar I was like, Dark Glasses I watched, and then Seder I was like, okay.
You're like, I'm going back.
There's like there's mysteries that you're just like, yeah, I know what's happening, and it's like, oh, there's some extreme violence all of a sudden, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe they do that to them, and you're just like,
Yeah, that sounds great.
I feel like maybe it's like Antlers-esque, but maybe you can tell me about Antlers after I just mention 2 short films before I hand it back to you, or I'll let you go to the washroom, whatever comes first.
I mean, yeah, let's do that too.
Okay, well, so there's this one short. It's called This Must Be the Place. This is for the Twitter audience of people who like to talk about how they're witches, and like they just say, yeah, I'm a witch.
Did you go to high school with any people like that? Because we had a couple. They were nice people too. They just told everyone they were witches, and it's like, okay.
I think that's a little different though. Like it was I don't know. You'd have to like go to the library and like get some books out and stuff like that about casting spells, and it was a little bit more ultra at one point. Now it's pretty much like no one cares. No one cares if you're a witch. But now they talk about it, and you're like, I don't know if what you're talking about is any different than any other like weird spiritual belief, or where you have like I have powers and stuff like that. And you're like, I don't know how much you're into this. If this is into weird territory where it's like a mental health crisis underway. So this is for those folk who like the idea that like witches have real powers.
Which is problematic sometimes, right, Jared?
Right. So this idea is that it's like street witches, though. Like it's like kind of, I don't know what you'd call them.
Like David Blaine?
Not like David Blaine street magicians, but it's like, oh, these girls, they dress like, I don't know, like Skidley, but they go to like convenience stores and rob them using magic powers, but it's like Jedi mind tricks. And then to like get into the club, you have to like do like things out of Dune with pain hands and boxes.
Oh my god! And the Jom Jibber.
And then you join the group, and that's what it is. That's all it is. And there's no ending. There's no payoff. It's just like, we stole money.
Said we got him.
We got him. We're breaking the system down, ladies.
Oh my god, that sounds good.
Sounds really good.
Sounds
And then the other short that I watched was called "They See You," which I think a few people from Creasel decided that's the one they're going to watch that I've watched as well. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that, folks. I know it's only a few minutes long, but I wouldn't go out of my way to watch this. It's just like, again, another one of the, like, a common thing with these short stories is it's a form, like a short story. You should have like not like a beginning, act structure by any means, but it should be satisfying in itself. It shouldn't feel like, oh, I can't wait to watch the next one, because there isn't going to be a next one. I don't find that satisfying. I feel like it's actually incredibly unsatisfying to have these like stories that end where you're like, oh, it's a proof of concept. And, well, if I get more money, the studios, they got some interest. I know my brother-in-law knows a guy, and maybe it's going to pay off. And, I'm already starting to imagine, like, the world building. I'm thinking about what sort of cinematic universe we'd see with They See You. And the title's horse shit. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. It's just like, yeah.
You think James Wan would do it?
Oh, sure. I'm sure any horror idea people will do, apparently, since there's like 15,000 of them that were made in a single decade, and there's already like 4,000 or something like that, and let alone and that's probably ones that have not been released yet. But yeah, there's no stopping the horror train.
No, not when A24 is out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now that you've relieved yourself, RJ.
Oh yeah.
Tell me more about what your viewings have been like.
Jared, do you know about a little film called The Antlers?
The Antlers?
Remember the antler craze from about 2 years ago, when everything had antlers on it?
I feel like, I don't know, we still might be in that phase. But
are we still in the antler phase?
I think it might have, maybe Antlers cooled it off. I
think Antlers cooled it off, would be my guess. Yeah. Do you know about this movie? Do you know who made this movie?
People.
So Scott Cooper made this. He's the guy who did Crazy Heart and Black Mass with Johnny Depp. And then he started making movies like Out of the Furnace and Hostiles, the Christian Bale flicks.
Right.
Yeah, the Hostiles is the cowboys and indigenous folk. So Antlers is an indigenous story told through the lens of a white person. But you know who's in this movie? Canadian icon Graham Greene.
Of course.
For just a second. So this movie opens and there's talk about indigenous storytelling, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then Graham Greene shows up for a bit, and he's talking about this is a monster movie, and the monster, they talk about it through indigenous lens, which is also cool. But then the rest of this movie, Jarrett, is Kerry Russell taking control of the narrative. Do you know about Control Your Narrative, Jarrett?
Yeah. The name Kerry Russell doesn't fill me with good feelings.
What about Jesse Plemons?
Oh, no.
They got him. They got him.
Or no, he got them.
I like Jesse Plemons. I think he's pretty good. Not in this.
I see.
This movie is so shit. Like, I was watching this.
Really?
Yeah, it sucks. I knew it. I knew it would be, but this was like you got to remember, this was a major theater release.
It's a movie that I think last year we talked about. I'm like, I didn't even know this movie existed, and then it was out, and it's like, what? It's in theater? It's like, yeah, it bombed, or it didn't do well, or maybe it did well because it's like a horror. Because the only thing people watch are horror movies, but even this one didn't do great. And I'm like, what the fuck is Antlers? I've seen only like posters, like the thumbnail posters on Letterboxd. I've never seen a trailer, I don't think. And I mean, my only interest in seeing it was like, well, it's a horror movie to see in the theater, I suppose. But I didn't go. I haven't gone this year either.
It's better. So yeah, I don't know. This movie so Scott Cooper's not a bad filmmaker. Like, he's got a good eye for stuff, but I think he's got a bad eye for horror stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, it seems like kind of lazy. Like the stuff that he frames in his shots is kind of like, it's like this is what you'd expect to be shooting, but then he'll like linger on stuff. Like it'll be like a box that's like symmetrically lined in the middle with like the thing like a tarp like flapping in the wind, but he'll show it for like a minute and a half, and you're like, all right, I got it.
Tarp.
Move on. Like it doesn't mean anything, but it's like lots of shots like that. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, it's like, is this gonna mean anything? And then it doesn't, and then you go, why the fuck are you showing me this? So this is a movie about a little boy, and the little boy goes and finds dead animals, and then he goes up to his attic and he throws them to his dad, who is chained, or not chained up, but is rabid and is eating the dead animals in the attic. Mm-hmm. And Carrie Russell, she's from this place, small town, and it looks like Montana or something actually, like this place. I should look at where it was actually shot, but it looks like Montana. And she moved back home to live with her brother, Jesse Plemons. And he says, well, you left. And she says, I had to leave. You know that. And you go,
you left.
Yeah. And so she was in California, so she's got funny ideas. And then, not Oregon. So she comes back. She's the teacher of this boy. And she's like, something weird's going on with this kid. And someone's like, yeah, no shit. Okay, this was filmed in British Columbia, Jarrett. It does have lots of mountains and stuff like that. Like the towns seem a little Montana-y, but it is mountainy. I would have said between Montana and Washington, but that's British Columbia, I guess. So, anyways,
not Montana.
Not Montana. Little kids like I don't know. He draws like. Like they had to like tell stories, and then he tells like a story. He writes a fable that is like exactly like what he's going through, but like as a metaphor. And then everyone's like, "Wow, is this kid smart, or is he tortured like artist?" And it's like, no, this kid's literally telling you that he's feeding monsters, and you're just not listening. And then you find out Carrie Russell has a story of like she was abused as a kid too, and then you're like, wait a minute, is this going to be a monster metaphor? For abuse or something, and then it does turn out to be a literal monster, but it is still a metaphor for abuse. And a lot of what this movie is Carrie Russell not listening to people. People will be like, you shouldn't mess with this, leave it alone, and she goes, I'm gonna do it. And then it's like the kid, and he's like, don't do this, I don't want you to do this for me. And she's like, I'm gonna do it. And then you're like, fuck, just listen to these people, maybe. I don't know. But it's got a couple cool monster things because it is like a monster mash, but it sucks. Like, I don't know what else to tell you, dude. It's not a good movie. I wouldn't watch it. I was bored almost the entire time, and I was just like, this movie is bad. So,
wow. But it's not on the list.
Well, that list wasn't created yet.
Wow.
And
it had not been forged.
Yeah, and maybe that's where I'll finish off on, because I could maybe rattle a couple off and then and get to that. But that I think that tag needs to be special. I think that's a special tag. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean, Jarrett?
Okay.
You want to hear about some quick ones?
Sure.
You ever heard of Phoenix Forgotten?
I have.
Yeah. What have you heard of this movie? Because I thought this movie was pretty good.
I have not heard. It's one of those movies that, again, one of the next things I'm going to talk about speaks to this. Is it gets like those weird middle of the road reviews that don't mean anything. Mm-hmm. That you're like, I don't know if I want to commit to watching this. And I think at the time, knowing that it was like a found footage type deal, it's like, oh, I'll watch it when it's available. But then that window of my interest passes, and then I never get around to watching it. And then then I see you log it and write favorably about a movie, which is a rarity, where you actually say, I like this movie, rather than some sort of insider joke that
about shit.
That less than 10 people on the entire planet will understand. Like what, Jarrett? Give me an example of some sort of insider joke. Give me a minute. I'll have to go find one. You continue telling me. You sell me on Phoenix Forgotten. Okay, so I like this because I'm partial to two things: aliens
And as we discussed last week, and we're still discussing, found footage, because I don't know what it is. I think I think this is something that you and me are like on level grounds with. Like
We
I
see
kind of
eye to eye.
we see eye to eye on this. I kind of like found footage. Like there's a lot of like bad things that are done with found footage, like like shitty characters, certain tropes and things like that, like where you're just like, this again. And that's really frustrating. But good found footage I find is like so like satisfying to me. It's like, this is what I've been craving. I was like, this is what I've wanted. I kind of got that at a Hell House for a bit, so that's a little tease for next week, I guess. I did get that in Hell House. I actually liked that. But so this found footage, but it's also aliens. But this one does a really cool thing where it blends like, it's found footage and then it's kind of like mockumentary stuff, but then they use like actual news segments. And I know there were real news segments because I watched an alien documentary like a year or two ago. I logged it, and it was showing like these things in Arizona with like the senator at the time, and it was that guy. So I recognized. I was like, hey, that's the actual news footage, and I kind of liked it. So they have a really good mix of those three things, I thought. And I saw you chuckling. Did you find one?
Perhaps your men review might fall into that.
Maybe. Maybe, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Hopefully.
So, Phoenix Forgotten's cool. The way it starts is like it's this like a family, and there's two kids, and it's about the actual or like the documented event in Phoenix where there was lights in the sky and then they kind of disappeared. And it's the kid filming a birthday party for his like younger sister. He's like 13 at the time. And then you jump ahead and the kid's older, but there's like some disappearances going on or something like that. Or like he disappeared or he died. I can't remember. It was a while ago I watched this. But what happened was his sister is kind of like looking into it, and she's like, well, where did he go? What happened to him? So they're like trying to retrace his steps. So he disappeared, but he was filming like a documentary based on these lights, and they were trying to figure out what it is. And then his sister is looking through his footage and then going around and like trying to piece things together. So I liked a few things in it. I liked like what they did with the real footage or like real news segments. I thought that was kind of neat. But then you get like a couple of like the coolest characters in any movie. You get these two dudes that are like UFO guys, and like they're really old and they have like huge braids and stuff like that. And like one of them can't see good, but like they're watching the video and a plane flies by, and he's like, this is 1500. And they're like, how do you know that? And he's like, I just tell by sound. And and they're just like good down home guys. I was like, yeah,
biscuits and mustard.
Exactly. So I thought those dudes ruled. And then I don't know, it's kind of like Lost in the Woods stuff, because it's people like in the desert. So it's got a very similar vibe to that last well, I shouldn't say similar, but the last thing in VHS 99, where it's kind of like the dunes, you know, that's what a lot of this movie is them kind of walking through dunes and then like getting like confused and like getting misplaced and stuff like that. I'm not going to say this is like a great thing that a lot of people would like, but it scratches two of my itches: aliens and found footage. So I was like, I'm on board with this. This is good. You know what I mean, Vern?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then I watched A Bay of Blood. You know about Bay of Blood?
I do.
Yeah, is
some Bava. It's some call it the proto slasher, the papa of all slashers.
The papa. I have 0 notes on this. I thought it was fine. I wasn't blown away by it, but I didn't dislike it. I was like, yeah, this is.
There's a lot of talk about real estate.
There is an incredible amount of talk about real estate.
I mean, this is a movie that I've talked about before. I don't like this movie. I have watched it a few times.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't get it. The kills don't make up for it. There's some real, some incredible 70s wardrobery in here.
There is. I was mostly annoyed by the people. I was like, these are the worst fucking party guests on earth. Like the way that they like handle each other and talk about stuff. I was like, these people suck. It's got a couple good kills, like you said.
The haircuts.
The haircuts are dumb, but Yeah, I watched this and I was like, based on how many, I didn't read any reviews, but based on how many people that are on my letterbox that gave this 4.5, 5 stars, I was like, this should be great. And I threw it on one night. I think I was like 10 minutes into it, and I was like, oh, they're wrong.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Like, I don't know. Like, I have literally zero notes. That's all I'm not even going to talk about it at all. It's like, it was fine. Whatever.
Yep.
And then I watched a Universal pick because I realized I haven't hit any Universals. Like I've been trying to like whittle away at Universal and horror, which I did. I got one of each this month. But I watched The Old Dark House. Have you seen The Old Dark House, Stuart?
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah.
In the early days of creeping.
Yeah, I call this alcoholism horror
Mm-hmm.
because it's all about how alcoholism drives men to insanity, kind of. And I was like, okay, cool.
Did you feel seen?
Kind of. This movie starts with a really weird disclaimer on Boris Karloff. And it's just like, this film was filmed before the release of Frankenstein. Any inferences made between Karloff's character and Frankenstein in this are just a credit to his acting range. And I was like, what is this disclaimer for? I was like, it was really bizarre.
This isn't part of the aura of the cinematic universe.
Yeah. So I was really
whatever,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, I was so weirded out by that. This one has what I would call it doesn't hit it, but like mother type house guests, like Darren Aronofsky's Mother, where it's people just invading in a home and making themselves at home in uncomfortable ways. Because it's like all these people just show up at these guys' house and they're like, we can't, the river's washed out, we gotta stay here. And it's like, listen here, man, you got any meat for me? And then like they're just like doing stuff.
That's such a 30s thing. Dudes like weaseling in saying, you got any
it's like, you got any supper?
You got any lamb chops?
Yeah.
You got a stew going?
And you got any gravy for this meat? It's a little dry. So there's stuff like that. One of those guys, one of the guys is the comedic relief. He's a real piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a fat guy that gets introduced, and his name is Porterhouse.
Because he's fat.
I thought that was incredible.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's your run of the mill like kind of thing. These strangers in a house, weird stuff's going on, but like they're the people who like crashed these people's house, so I thought they were kind of at fault. It's got a couple cool scenes, and a couple stuntmen get tossed in this, so I'm all for that. And I was like, that's cool. But Old Dark House, it's not bad if you're in the mood for 30s black and white. It's definitely something you can watch. Uh-huh. What about 90s monster mashes? Because I can tell you about Mosquito real quick.
Ooh, tell me about Mosquito. I've never seen it.
No, I think you would probably enjoy Mosquito. I think you would enjoy it more if if you were on the couch with Corey and Lawrence, and you guys threw on Mosquito. Mm-hmm. Mosquito, it's definitely like a really campy movie, but they play it straight. Like they're taking it seriously, and or they commit to it. And I was like, I kind of admire them for that. So it's an alien ship lands. Some mosquitoes drink the alien blood, and now the mosquitoes are the sizes of like dogs, and they're going around sucking people dry. And I was like, that's cool. I was like, that's all you need. The mosquito practical effects I actually thought were pretty cool. They made like a couple of these giant mosquitoes, and they fly them around. Mm-hmm. And then when they eat people, it's like, like all of the stuff inside you gets drained out, and then it's just skin on like bone. And I thought that was cool too. You get a really huge fat guy with like long hair, and he wields a chainsaw at some points. I'm gonna send you a picture of this guy because I think this guy's right up your alley.
Oh,
I saw him, and like he's not a huge fat guy, kind of, but I was like he's a bigger guy, and he's played off as like the tough guy, but he's just a big dude with like a mullet kind of, and I was like, this guy's cool. I was like, I like this guy. But the peak of this movie was a couple having sex in a tent, and they roll over onto some hot dogs that were prepared on a plate, and then they just kind of keep doing it there, and I was like, okay. And then a mosquito comes in and punctures the guy in the ass, and then I was like, yeah. So Mosquito is okay, is what I would say. All right.
Okay.
Mosquito is okay. It's an okay little movie.
It's an okay show.
Yeah. So what about you? Did you watch any movies or?
Oh, what didn't I watch? RJ, have you ever heard of the film The Ranger?
I have, but I don't remember why.
Well, it's on Shudder. It's probably been floating on there forever. It's from 2018, directed by Jen Wexler. I think this is her first feature film, which I don't know if
I know that name too for some reason.
I'm gonna
no,
note
I
that
don't.
right now. First feature. I think it's important to keep track of these things.
Sure.
In the grand scheme of all of reality. So anyway, The Ranger is a slasher film.
Mm-hmm.
Opens up with this young girl, and she's being consoled by this park ranger guy, who we will become more familiar with. He's played by this guy that looks like Rob Riggle.
Okay, yeah, I know Rob Riggle.
Yeah, you know that guy. I think.
Yeah, sure.
I think the guy in this is named Jeremy Holm, but
he does kind of look like Rob Riggle. Yeah, I'm seeing who you're talking about. He does kind of look like Rob Riggle.
So I mean, it's like maybe Rob Riggle was busy, and we got Jeremy Holm as the Ranger. The Ranger is crazy.
Is this a poster really out of sync? Because it's like a punk guy.
Yeah, well, you'll see.
Or is that what the movie?
It's about. Well, it's like Green Room versus like Maniac Cop, the Ranger.
Okay.
Yeah, the park ranger maniac cop who takes his job very seriously. He's not a zombie man or anything like that. He is just a. He's not a Frankenstein or anything. He's just a guy who takes his job very seriously. He doesn't like misbehaving, and
who does?
He's strict. But of course, so this little girl, something's happened to her father, and this ranger was like arrested alongside that, seemingly.
Yeah.
We had a time jump. Now she's a punk, hanging out with punk friends, and there's an altercation back in the city. A cop is stabbed by one of the punks and almost killed by this girl, but she lets this cop live. They flee. They leave the city. She's like, well, I got a family cabin we could go to and hide out, let the heat cool off. So they do that, and then it turns out that the ranger is still alive, and he remembers her.
What?
And then the secrets of like rangerdom come about. Can you believe this?
Of rangerdom? I can't believe it. I can't believe it so much. It's blowing my mind, Jared.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, the ranger starts killing people horribly.
Yeah.
There's two like gay punk guys. They get it real bad because that's how movies operate. Sadly.
Do they get the mosquito treatment, like sex on hot dogs? And
all kinds. All kinds of horrible things befall them.
Gotcha.
I didn't like this. I've seen like some people apparently just hated the characters, like they hated the punk characters. They found them annoying, and so they didn't care about anything.
They should root for their death.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I didn't feel strongly about them one way or another. They're just characters along for the ride. Mm-hmm. Larry Fessenden shows up in this at some point.
What doesn't he show up in?
Well, he shows up here. Up here. I don't know. Not much to recommend.
Good.
It's very formulaic. It might work for you. It seems like some people give it like a 3 stars here or there, but
is this a Shudder original?
I think I'm not sure if it is. They might have picked it up after the fact.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a Glass Eye pick, so that's the Fessenden factor and Hood River Entertainment. So I think they came late to the party.
Yeah. Borderline Shudder original.
Borderline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One sec. I have to go to the washroom now.
Oh.
I should have gone, but I did not.
Wow.
And now the moment is struck.
Wow.
Yeah. So, RJ, you know what one of the surprises of the month was for me?
Boar?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2022, directed by David Blue Garcia.
No, it wasn't. Come on.
It was. This movie, it has a 2 on Letterboxd.
Okay.
A 2 out of 138,000 reviews of people have logged this. 138,000. The movies that we watch every week for the podcast proper, sometimes it's like 900, maybe like a couple thousand. It jumps up and down. But this has 138,000 people who wanted to check out. What's Sally been up to?
And what has she been up to?
That's like neither here nor there. But
Oh, okay.
so I put this on because I was just like, I need something to put on while I'm
Yep.
again working on minis, and it starts, and like I don't know, it keeps getting my attention, and I'm like, what's going on with this movie? It's like this doesn't seem that bad. So this is also part of the Fedeverse. You know about the Fedeverse?
Are you saying anti-villain? Is that what
Well,
Leatherface is now?
No, it is definitely said in the aesthetics of it. So David Blue Garcia
Oh, okay.
worked actually directed this, but I believe that Fede Alvarez wrote this film and also produced it. He's a co-writer on the movie,
Oh.
so he was involved.
Yeah.
And I just like this movie has just been dumped on for
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't even realize it just came out this year.
I did think the one poster was really funny, like the Netflix one where it's just like the field of like flowers, and then it's just like the little Leatherface head where it's just his eyes kind of poking up. I was like, that's so cute.
Yeah.
I was like, that's adorable. I love that.
Yeah. So this movie, amongst its stars, it also stars Sarah Yarkin, who I don't know
who doesn't know her.
Well, I don't know if have you watched Happy Death Day 2?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, she's in that.
Oh, okay.
She's the one. She has really curly hair.
Yeah. It also stars the ninth grade or eighth grade girl.
Is that Elsie Fisher?
Yeah. And she's in a movie I was going to check out this month, My Best Friend's Exorcism, which is Grady Hendrix, I think. The fuck? Who wrote that book? Some dude wrote that book that I've read some of his other stuff, and I was like, yeah, he's cool.
Well, it also has
Grady Hendrix.
Mark Burnham, who has been in such films as Wrong Cops, Reality. So he's working, and then
he's making waves, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's working with Quentin Dupuis, and he went, you know what? I'm ready to be Leatherface.
Who isn't? You know.
So this is a sequel. This is like a sequel to the original movie.
Like a full sequel?
Yeah, it kind of skips over the idea that there were other sequels. It's just kind of like, no, this is the first real sequel. The idea that Sally's out there, but it's kind of like the Jamie Lee Curtis is out there still looking for Michael Myers long after the fact.
Oh, I see.
And so now she's old. Sally. That's like not a great part of the movie, I would say. But yeah. I don't know. I was along with this silliness where a bunch of urbanites, they're going to gentrify a small Texas town, turn into like they're influencers, and they're going down to the Texas. And they want to turn around. They have a run in with this this real asshole Texas guy who was it coal rolling, blasting fumes out of the back of his truck.
Mm-hmm.
And
the good stuff,
and it's all there. All the trappings of Texas being like, oh man, it's real Southern hospitality types. They're going to get you. But then it's like, at the same time, this movie also is like, well, actually, they just live here, and it's these urban folk, these liberals coming into town they're trying to ruin our way of life, which is fascinating. 'Cause you don't usually get that perspective.
Well, I mean, not so bluntly.
Yeah,
I think.
But it wavers kind of back and forth between it.
Yeah,
because eventually they realize we were wrong, and but also it's like sometimes you do want a person who's got a gun, but it doesn't matter when you're up against Leatherface, who's also superhuman, because that's how movies scale up.
Is he superhuman now?
Well, he's superhuman now. He's not just like a big dude, smashing people.
Define his powers. Like he can't be hurt.
Yeah, he seems pretty invulnerable. So what happens is they've been hiding out for years.
Yeah.
Then now they've been caught, and as they're being arrested and being taken away, actually it's because they're refusing to move out of the house that's been bought out from under them.
So they're getting evicted.
Yeah, and then Leatherface, his mom dies of a heart attack, and so he goes into full Leatherface mode, and he just starts like murdering people. Like,
That's cool.
Very, what do you call it? Contrived, but awesome. People like he's a master. He's like John Wick, Leatherface.
He's the John Wick of chainsaws. Is that what you're saying?
Not even, but like if anything, he'll
Just
use
using his mitts.
He'll break your wrist and then stab you with the wrist bone.
I mean, that's not unlike. Have you ever seen Hook, the Spielberg film?
I have. I don't recall. I don't recall that scene.
Well, you don't remember the boo boo box? Because that's exactly what happens in the boo boo box.
They just, as Rufio breaks someone's wrist, jams into Dustin Hoffman's throat. He goes, "Bangarang!"
He bangarang Shmee. Don't you remember? He says, "I'll show you a Shmee."
Yeah. Yeah.
Bangarang.
Guts him.
Yeah, that's the true intent of that film.
Oh, I see.
Not all that weird stuff people talk about.
So, anyways,
yeah.
So Leatherface is on the loose, and he starts killing folk, violently. And I don't know, like that's all this movie is. Who gives a shit? I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is an all-time banger classic. It's an absolute perfection. And then there's a whole bunch of sequels to it, and they all vary in quality. Most of them have been bad, but this one's like, I don't know, just as good as any of them. And it looks fine. It's competent. I don't know. People hate this movie. I don't get it. I thought like this was like this might even teeter into like 3-star range in terms of purely like I was entertained. I stopped. I put down my my Skaven Ratman, painting them, and started watching the movie. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm down with this. This is
so
fun.
This is one of those, eh?
It's an entertaining movie. It's not great, but. I don't know. This is where I'm like, man, if I follow all the people who dump on this, 1 star is all aboard. I'm like, I would never watch this, but it's a good thing I was just kind of aimlessly looking for something to watch. And I went, this is it. This is the ticket. And it impressed.
And it was.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of the other newer ones, like from 2000 on?
Well, I watched Leatherface.
Yeah, but so there's the 2003 Texas Chainsaw.
The Michael Bay produced ones, like whatever, Platinum Dunes. I did watch the first one.
The one with Jessica Biel?
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
That sucked. But I never did watch In the Beginning or whatever it's called.
Beginning.
Yeah, I have not got around to those, and I haven't seen the 2013 Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The Chainsaw 3D?
Yeah, that's the one. Because Emery's in the, was it R. Lee Emery?
He's in the beginning.
Only the beginning. He's not in the.
I haven't seen the 3D one, but he's definitely in the beginning, and he's
in Texas.
Maybe
he might have been in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
He's in that one too. Yeah. He's in those two, but not 3D.
Yeah. Okay, that tells you maybe a little bit. So I'm 2 away from completing the set. I finished Candyman this week too, so
we watched half an hour of 40 to 50 minutes of Candyman, and I didn't finish it because Andrea might want to finish it, but I think she also might not care if I finish it. So I don't know. I have like half an hour left of that movie. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So Texas Chainsaw, just watch movies because you want to watch them, and
sure.
Maybe you'll feel differently about it. I could see someone not liking this at all, though. I could understand it. But for me, at this moment in time, I was like, yeah, that was all right. And if I rewatch this movie, I'm sure it'll be horrendous. But this time out, I was like, is this like no worse or anything than...
Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it, Jer?
Most things. Well, speaking of things that aren't very good.
Yeah.
3 from Hell.
Oh, yes. Tell me about your trip to Mexico.
Man, it just goes on and on. This movie, this is 2 movies. This is a tale of 2 movies.
Yes, it is.
I don't like this feels so after the fact. I don't know. It feels like Devil's Rejects was such a good way of going out. That's like going out on a high note. But now we got fucking Richard Brake in our life, and now we have to be like he's my Bill Moseley, RJ.
I understand that completely. I do. Yeah, because I don't know, like Richard Brake is good in some stuff, but I could see him being super annoying for people. Yeah. I think the biggest thing about Through From Hell is there's no Sid Haig, and it is.
Well, there is, and he's like dying.
I think that's worse almost, like, because I know it's like his last movie, and they were like, let's throw you in here, but like, doesn't he look like real bad? And
he doesn't sound like himself, or like, he doesn't sound like the character. Yeah.
And you're kind of like, I almost wish they left him out of this, because I think he died like on set, is how it seems. But I think that's the biggest knock against this. I was like, I wish Sid Haig was here, and he's not. And now we got Tom Papa and Richard Brake. Blows my mind that Tom Papa's in all this Rob Zombie stuff. That's that dude who's friends with Jerry Seinfeld. He's like a comedian.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So
are you stoked for Munsters because of 3 from Hell?
If it was free to stream, because I'm already paying for the service, sure, I'd watch Munsters. I'm not going to pay $7 to watch it.
No, who would?
But it does seem like some people like it more than that trailer would have led us to believe.
3 from Hell or Munsters?
Munsters.
Yeah, some people gave it okay ratings, but sometimes people are wrong.
Exactly. You know? The internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. 3 from Hell. What's there even to say about this? Yeah, so the first half is they're in jail, and it's like, how are they going to get out of jail? And then they do, and there's some, I don't know. I guess there's a element of the Firefly, or whatever you call them, the family, the Spall. Yeah. I don't even. Do they have a name?
No. Sid Haig was Captain Spaulding.
Yeah.
But they were the Firefly.
Well, there's but it's Otis Driftwood, Baby Firefly, and Captain Spaulding, and then they meet up with Winslow, with the werewolf, Wolfman, whatever it is, because he's like, he's my stepbrother, and then you get like just like the unpleasantness of these movies where it's like, oh, there's this person who just like gets their face sliced off, and they're like tied to a tree, and they get to look at their like sliced off face across from them, and that's just like nothing. You know, and the movie moves right past it, never follows up. It's just like, that woman's face got sliced off.
It's Rob Zombie, baby.
And you get lines where Bill Moseley goes, or is it Richard Brake? One of the two of them. Wow, we don't get any fuckle-doodle doos, but we do get like, oh, I got a piece of skull in my.
Oh yeah.
And then and then you get Luchador People, which is like, oh fuck, this brings back memories of that Super El Bisto thing.
Yeah.
Which is, El Super Bisto. That is still just like, I stopped watching it after a couple minutes. I was like, this fucking sucks. It's ugly, and I think the writing's horrible. It's not funny. I'm like, I'm not watching this.
Do you think El Super Bisto is in Munsters?
Possibly. You never know with Robert
Zombo.
Yeah. You get Clint Howard as a clown.
You do. I mean, I'll never turn down Clint Howard.
Yeah. You get all kinds of types that are still like, Danny Trejo shows up for a hot second. I don't know what Jeff Daniel Phillips is all about. He's the guy who plays the warden.
Jeff Daniel Phillips.
Yeah,
why would he do that?
Zodiac, American Pickle.
Oh yeah, I know this guy.
Whole bunch of Rob Zombie movies. That Satanic Panic movie that I thought I might have seen, but apparently I haven't.
I watched that movie. I thought it was real ass.
Satanic Panic.
Yeah, are you talking about the one that's from a couple years ago?
The pizza delivery, yes. Now that's why it's familiar. You talked about it.
Yeah, I thought it was real ass, but I find I'm also like, I don't know, like it's kind of a blend of horror comedy, but I don't think they get the balance right. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I didn't like that movie. It's on Shudder. You could check it out.
No, well, like 3 from Hell, which was also on Shudder.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's I don't know. Bob Zombie. He needs to. I don't know what he needs to do. He's just going to keep doing what he's going to do. And this was also, I will note, fan voted on the Discord, the Criterion Creeps Discord, but what I should watch that particular night.
Yeah, I got to level with you. I think I hit I voted maybe twice, if that's allowed.
No, you can only vote once actually. So you and you voted for 3 from Hell. So thanks a lot.
Can you see what people vote for?
Yeah.
Can anybody see what anyone votes for?
I mean, I can see the votes.
I feel like we don't have access to that, but yeah, I did definitely vote for that because I was like, yeah, Jarrett should watch that fucking movie. I was thinking about it.
Okay.
I was thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I followed that up with Witchhammer, which was the Sam Sanchez pick of the month, I guess, arguably. This isn't a horror movie though.
No,
this is it's about witch hunting and like witches and
the
Inquisition.
politics of it.
But it's about this is a drama. So not what I was expecting. Not what
Poster's really cool.
Yeah, it is. Not what I was looking for. So
that's too bad.
I don't think I was in the fair state of mind to watch it, as I was like, this isn't a fucking horror movie, and it seems really, really long. And there's better witch hunter movies, like Witch Hunter General.
That one's pretty good.
It's the best.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
How about Trick or Treat, the 1982 version?
Do you mean Trick or Treats?
Sorry, Trick or Treats.
Yeah.
This is the one that's got the little bag on it, the little Trick or Treats bag.
It's a cool little poster.
This is got one of those like all-time super annoying children in it.
Oh, one of your favorite things.
Yeah, he's like an aspiring little wizard, like little wizard. He's a little magician. Mm-hmm. He likes to do tricks on his babysitter. The movie opens up with this very long extended scene. It's like kind of a flashback where a man is being committed to like an insane asylum by his wife, who just wants to get him out of the picture, and it goes on and on and on, and then they get him out of the picture and he's gone, and then she remarries this like David Carradine. Mm-hmm. And they're weird and sleazy, and they have a kid, and they got a babysitter. She's an actress who's got like this boyfriend. There's this like ongoing gag where her boyfriend is like in a Shakespeare production, I think maybe of like Othello or something. Anyway, but then the former husband, who was off in the insane asylum, he breaks out and is making his way back. There's a whole lot of jokes, RJ, about him being dressed as a woman in disguise. People try to like have sex with him. So that's great. And then he shows up, and then he starts. Oh yeah, Paul Bartel shows up in this for a second.
Is he good?
I mean, he's just like in it for 35 seconds or something. Like a very little amount of time. There's a homeless man who gets robbed and his clothes are stolen, and then this guy makes it back to the house, and then he proceeds to try killing people, slitting throats, that kind of business.
Sure. Who hasn't, right?
Yeah. But there's this is like kind of that horror and comedy thing, and it doesn't work. This movie really drags to its conclusion after 91 minutes. Also, it should be noted, on Tubi.
Oh, man, there's some good tubes out there. Hey?
There's some good tubes. But RJ, what about you? You watch anything this week?
No. Jarrett, what do you know about movies that are bad?
Ooh, I feel like we've talked a lot about them tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They're not good. They're not good.
They're not good. What do you know about major releases of movies that are bad?
It happens all the time.
Happens all the time. I know some people are really into certain movies and things like that, and then I watch movies and I go, what is going on with the world? And that's what I felt like when I watched Malignant.
Oh yeah,
a while ago.
Yes,
I was about 10 minutes into this and I was just like, is this fucking movie for serious right now? I was like, is this real? Is this really what is fucking going on? And like before, everyone's like, oh, it's supposed to be like that. I know full well what this movie is doing. I know full well what James Wan is doing. And I mean, I do have to applaud him for making a movie that was like this wide scale release that is kind of like schlocky Giallo with like bad acting and like bad lighting and stuff like that, like intentionally so. It's how I took this in. So I was like, this movie is intentionally doing this.
Is one of the things I remember is like the house makes no sense.
The house doesn't make the house doesn't make sense, and that's what I mean. It's all very intentional. So I do admire them for this. The acting is bad, which I think is intentional. My favorite. Yes. The way they film stuff and the lighting is not good. Like I don't know if that's intentional, but I actually think that is something that hurts this movie. It doesn't look good. But there is like a lot of stuff. Like there are plot holes in this too, which I think is intentional. Like there's things that just like don't make sense. You're like, wait a minute, how did this get here? And like they kind of cut around that stuff. So the way I saw this was they were making like a 70s giallo movie that has these things that like those movies weren't trying to do, but they really lean into it in this. And that was my viewing of Malignant. And I don't know what to think about this movie, man. Like I do think it's bad. Like genuinely
really
bad. Yeah, I do. Like I can, and it's like I said, I do admire them for doing this. But I was watching it and I was just like, are you, like, I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, is this a real movie? I was like, is this honestly happening right now? It was blowing my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's blowing my mind, Jarrett. And I don't even know what else to say about it other than like, because I don't want to give away anything or anything like that. But I don't know, dude. I think this movie's bad. Genuinely bad. And I don't know how else to frame it. Do you want to talk about Malignant at all?
Well, I mean, I watched it a while ago now.
You did.
So, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of this movie upon watching it. I never wrote any notes about it either. But,
it's just...
just... What do you call this thing?
It's super dumb. It's really dumb. I don't know.
But it was a smash hit.
Well, and like that's the thing. Like I can see why people are really into it, but I'm like, you shouldn't be.
How do you feel about backwards people?
Well, one thing I didn't like in like you're talking about the backwards man from Freddy Got Fingered, right?
Yeah.
So like in this movie, like when the anatomy does go back, like superpowers become a thing of that. Like they can do like things that other humans can't. Like they make note of it. Like backwards man flips like a bed thing, and then frontwards man is like, well, backwards man can do it, I can do it. And it's like that's not how like stuff works. And I was like, because they're backwards, they're stronger now. I'm like, I don't know. But that's the thing. It's like that's overthinking it. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to just buckle up for the ride of Malignant. I don't know, dude. I thought this movie was so fucking stupid. It was so dumb. I couldn't believe it.
What's it about?
There's a lady, and she's pregnant, and her husband's an abusive piece of shit.
Right.
And he shows up dead one day, and then she starts thinking that she's maybe not alone, like that the killer is lingering around, and then she starts having visions where she's kind of in the place of other people who are getting murdered, and they're getting linked back to this psychiatric facility or this medical hospital or something, and she may also be implicated in there in the past because she was actually adopted. And then you go, oh, is she the person? Did she know this person that is doing it? And you see this other person, it's a different person, and you go, oh wow, that's a different person. But a lot of people start dying, and then a lot of the fingers start getting pointed back in her direction, kind of, because of her past.
Yes.
And that's what Malignant is about, Jared.
Mm-hmm.
Without saying too much. I don't know. This movie's stupid. You know what I mean, Vern?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's some other movies. Unless you have something else to say about Malignant.
No, I don't. Yeah, I didn't like it, and I've moved on.
Yeah. So Hellraiser 3, Jarrett.
Yeah.
Hellraiser 3 is a good 90s horror movie. It's not a great Hellraiser movie.
Yeah.
I think is the best way to describe it. It's got Hellraiser stuff in it. It's definitely, out of the sequels I've seen so far, it's the one that withholds the most Hellraiser stuff. But it does just seem like some of it comes like it's misplaced. Like I don't think they get the priest right and like the intent of what the Cenobites are supposed to be about. Because this one's more about like this one's the Cenobites, or they want to be out and they want to be loose in the world. And I was like, maybe. So Hellraiser 3, you got a lady, she's a reporter, she's in the hospital doing something, and then she sees a body get brought in, and then the body gets chains emerge from the body, and then the body gets ripped to shreds in the hospital, and she goes, did anyone else just see that? And then so she starts investigating it on her own, And you know who the lead of Hellraiser 3 is?
I don't remember.
Jadzia Dax from DS9. Farrell?
Farrell, yeah.
Terry Farrell, yeah. So Dax is the lead of Hellraiser 3, which was I was like, ooh, cool. So she's doing that, and then on the flip side, there's this like club owner, and he's really sleazy, and he buys the totem thing from at the end of Hellraiser 2.
Yep.
That's got the priest in it. I know everyone calls him Pinhead, but he's really supposed to be called the priest, Jarrett. So he's in there, and he's kind of like getting unleashed and stuff like that. So like, that's cool, but yeah. So my biggest thing with this is it doesn't totally feel like Hellraiser, where I think Hellraiser was more about other things. This is kind of more like, here's some fun, cool ideas, and I like that too. This one also has the introduction of, I think, my two absolute favorite Cenobites, CD Cenobite, who is just the coolest. Like that guy is so cool. I would hang out with that guy. And Cigarette Cenobite,
right?
Which I also thought was just incredible. I'll send you a picture of Cigarette Cenobite in case you don't remember.
Okay.
But I like Cigarette Cenobite. So, anyways, Hellraiser 3 is it's pretty good. I like Hellraiser 1's incredible. Hellraiser 2 is pretty good. Hellraiser 3 is a decent 90s horror movie, but not super Hellraiser-y. And then I think from there, you're on your own. You know what I mean? You're kind of floating on your own, which is too bad. But any thoughts on Hellraiser 3? Or I can rattle through a couple here.
You might as well just rattle off I mean, I didn't realize that you were going to be indulging in the Hellraiser franchise.
It wasn't planned.
And now it's happening. It's Puppet Master all over again.
Do you want me to talk about Hellraiser now?
Yeah, might as well. So the one thing I'll note that when I did my Hellraiser deep dive, it was at the beginning of the very Criterion Creeps podcast. It was September of 2016. I was watching all of them back to back. We watched. It was around Hard Boiled and The Killer that we watched. I was watching them.
I remember that. That was before I was a Hellraiser man myself. Before I got into the Barkerverse. So yeah, I watched that, and then just like this weekend, I started watching theirs because I kind of ran out of movies that I could watch on my own. Like some of the movies left on my list, I'm like, Andrea might like these, so I kind of, but like, you know what, I know she won't like Hellraiser Bloodlines and Hellraiser Inferno and Hellraiser Hellseeker.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm pretty confident she's not gonna like those movies. So I watched Bloodlines, which is Hellraiser 4, and this is the one that bounces around space and time.
Yes.
So it starts in space.
Adam
Scott. Yeah, he's in it. He's not bad. They start in space, and the only problem I have with the Space Razor, I didn't mind that they were in space, but they're not futuristic enough. Like the people on the spaceship are just walking around carrying like actual guns, and like I don't know. I was just like, this seems too 80s, and it's not. This movie wasn't even made in the 80s, but they're supposed to be in 21, 22 or something. I was like, this movie's not really selling me on that. But anyways, you get introduced to a guy, and he's like, my family's cursed, and it all started hundreds of years ago, or like 1,000 years ago. So you get the origin of the Lamont configuration. Yeah. They call it sometimes they use the actual like French name, and sometimes they just say Lamont, but the puzzle box, essentially. And this starts a trend in these three movies, which I don't like, where the puzzle box is too easy to open. Because
you just touch it and you're like, oh shit.
You touch it and then it opens, which I thought was kind of dumb, because I really liked in the first one, like when the Frank guy is doing it, he's like super sweaty and he's like in a room for like days, like opening it up. Because Clive Barker's really into puzzles. When I read Books of Blood in the summer, he has like 2 other stories about like puzzle stuff. Like he had one where it's like a knot thing where he was loosening knots and that let out demons, and he just loves puzzles. So I was kind of like, oh, they really downgraded the puzzle box thing. I was like, that's kind of bad. But you go to Victorian era, you get Adam Scott, and then you get like some guy with white face paint with a wig, and they're like, we're going to open a portal to hell and capture a demon. We just need to skin a person first. And I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yep.
So they skin like a sex worker, I think, and then they open up a portal, the demon goes into the skin. They trap him in there, and then the box is kind of like it's. I was kind of fuzzy on like why they said they needed the box at all, because they got the demon, but the box is kind of like the shortcut, like doorway, I guess. But they got a demon, and then they use her for some things. Puzzle box guy gets got, and but his bloodline lives on. Bloodlines. And then we cut to like 90s. So we have a couple time frames, and it's a new heir, and girlfriend comes for him because he's the puzzle maker, and he created the box that opened it. So they think that his bloodline could create the box that closes the portal to hell also. So he's in the 90s, and he's doing stuff on like Microsoft Office and creating like puzzles in that form, and they don't like that, so they try to get him, but they don't get him again, Jarrett. And then they go to the future one, and that's where we get Pinhead in space. And I'm fine with that. I thought Bloodlines was okay. This is the Alan Smithy one.
Yep.
So I don't know who,
Craig,
is it known?
Yeah, it's right on the. I think I noted it in my review. Craig Yager. Apparently, when you read some of the reviews, I mentioned that like at the time I read it sounded like this got taken away from him, and it's unfortunate because I think I like Bloodlines maybe more than 3.
Yep. Yeah, like I didn't mind Bloodlines. Like I think Inferno and Hellseeker, even Inferno and Hellseeker, there's like glimmers of stuff that's okay, but Inferno and Hellseeker are like kind of off on their own, and then this is where I feel like the road we're going down. But Bloodlines, I actually felt like I was like, this is trying to be a Hellraiser movie, and I didn't mind the time jump stuff. I was like, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
So like I hold 3 and 4 kind of in the same regard.
Sure.
I got 1 up here, and then 2 just kind of hanging on to 1, and then I have 3 and 4 kind of on the next tier. Is my take on that.
Yeah, and then the producers of Hellraiser go, "Yo, dog, you ever seen 7?"
And then like so Inferno and Hellseeker are so similar to me. Like it's almost like they made Inferno, and they're like, let's do it again. Let's just change this guy's character a little bit. And then you go, oh, God. So Inferno is with the detective, and he's investigating stuff, and he comes across the box. And in this one, he comes across the box, and then Inferno is the one directed by Scott Derrickson, who is, Doctor Strange.
That's right.
This one's got new Cenobites, where they're more fleshy, where it's like fleshed over faces, and I was kind of like, I wonder why they wanted to change the Cenobite kind of structure. I guess I was like, I guess I just felt like it was time for a change. Okay. So the detective, he's trying to track down the case, but he had a prostitute one night, and then she's killed, and so he's kind of like, oh man, are they gonna think I did it? So he's trying to retrace his steps, but then he opened the box, but they didn't come out. But now he's being haunted by visions, and they're coming after him, and his co-workers, like John Turturro's brother or John Turturro's cousin or whoever that little guy is that's in the Adam Sandler movies, he's his partner, and they're not getting along. And then anyways, it's like a serial killer, and it's one of the Cenobites, and he has like a fleshed over face, and he's going around killing people, and he's like hitting them with whips in their spines or something. And then you're watching this, and you're like, I wonder if this is just this is going to be a spoiler for the classic movie Hellraiser Inferno from 2000. But you're watching it, and you go, I wonder if this is just this guy's personal hell. And then it is. And then they do that again in Hellseeker.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I was kind of like, all right, I guess that's where they're taking this now. But you have that guy, and there's some stuff that's not bad, but I do think Scott Derrickson does a few things that are a little too. He's trying to be too showy. Like there's a scene where like the dad's head comes in, like it's the daughter's head sleeping upright, and then the dad's head comes in like from the top, like upside down. I was like, this is way too showy, dude. I was like, you're doing Hellraiser 5.
Hey,
bring it down.
That's where you do that stuff.
I know, but
just because no one's gonna tell you no. Some producer might like chew your ass out and say, "Hey, we're making Hellraiser 5. We're not making Antione here."
This ain't no cryptic plasm. All right, let's bring it down a notch.
What could be?
What could be? Well, we'll maybe talk about that by the end of the month.
Hopefully.
What was I gonna say? So, anyways, the true horror of this movie is the fact that this guy is like dirty and greasy, and he's crawling around his bed sheets, and he's kissing his family members, and it really bothered me, man.
Yeah, no, dude, hit the showers.
Well, he's in the crime scene, and it's just like they're like, there's blood everywhere, there's semen everywhere.
Oh, look at the viscera.
You can't even walk through this place without getting a face full of it. And he's like, ugh. And he's in there for like 2 days. And then he comes home and he just starts literally rubbing his head on his sleeping daughter's head. And he's like, dude, at least like put a wet one on your face or something. Like clean yourself off. Gross. So that was really gross. And then I watched Hellseeker, which again is just basically like, it's the same thing. It's just instead of being a detective, some guy who works in an office. This one's really weird because this one has a really cartoony soundtrack. It's things that would be like on a sound bar, like and you're just like, okay. This one has Pinhead as the ghost of Christmas Future, kind of.
Oh boy.
Which like I find like really dumb. It's the same story basically, but then by the end of it, you're kind of like, this dude he just wanted a divorce. But what happened was he ended up being in an internal hell with Pinhead. And you're just like, that's a bad call, dude. You shouldn't have done that, I guess. But that's Hellraiser 3, 4, and 5, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I guess.
How the cookie crumbles.
It's how the cookie crumbles. I'm gonna try to do the rest. I think I have 7, 8, 9, 10. I can't watch 11.
Yeah, until it shows up. Oh boy, you have Hell World to watch.
Is that the one on the internet?
Yeah, that's
nice.
That's some digital age horror. Oh fuck yeah, Hell World, Revelations, Judgment. Oh, and yeah, Deader. I think Deader is better than Hellseeker. I'm looking at my reviews. Hellseeker I gave 1.5 stars. Inferno nice. I gave 2.5.
I mean, Inferno's not like it's not that bad. There's some good stuff in it, but it is definitely like it's where for me it's where they start veering off, and I'm like, this feels less like Hellraiser than anything.
My review for Hellworld, which you've liked previously. It's good.
I can't remember. That was what, 6 years ago?
Yeah, it was September 8th, 2016.
Yeah, I don't quite remember.
No, you'll see it again. It's just like, yep, that good.
And so that's something to look forward to, hey? Something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think so. Here's for Hellraiser Revelations from 2011. Terrible, but outdone by Hellraiser Hellworld as being the worst in the franchise. It being the 5th worst rated horror film on Letterboxd is greatly overstated. It actually kind of has something to do with the Hellraiser story, but no good at all. High praise, I guess.
Is Hellworld next for me? Is that 7? Or is
no,
Deader 7?
You have Deader to get through.
Okay, so Deader and then Hellworld.
Yeah.
Did they come out in the same year?
Possibly.
Yeah, they both came out in 2005.
Hell yeah. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's always a good thing when direct-to-video sequels get 2 entries in a single calendar year. That means it's real good.
Well, they had so many ideas, they had to split them across 2 movies. You know what I mean, Jared?
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, I talked about Hellraiser a lot. What do you want to do here? Should we hit some of the major titles that we want to talk about, or
I mean, there's always next week, baby.
There's always next week. I mean, I'm not saying we have to stop right now. I'm just saying It's almost 9. I could go for like a while longer if you want, or if you want to try to get some movies in.
I do want to talk about what is probably one of my favorite films of the month so far.
Okay, why don't you talk about however many you want, and if they're crossover with me.
I've got one. It's just really one I want to specifically mention. Then we've got 4 crossover films.
That's true. So we have Men, Mad God, VHS,
and Censor.
Oh, and Censor, yeah. Like, there's other movies I could talk about, but like I don't know, Phantom of the Opera, Hammer film. It was Hammer. It was really rapey, and it's Alfred from Batman in the '90s movie. So I was kind of like,
speaking of rapey, Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed.
oh, that's the rape Frankenstein.
Yeah,
one.
it's like it's so fucking out of nowhere.
I know.
You're like, Peter Cushing, what are you doing, buddy? You should have said no.
It's so like out of character too, and it's just like, why is Frankenstein raping people now? It's bizarre.
Yeah, out of like it's like he's never done it before, but suddenly he just like looked at this one woman and went, yeah, and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah,
was your
trash? That was trash. But it's
was
like,
your review Rapenstein?
It could have been. I held back.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't too. It was kind of too bad because the pathos of like the sadness of the Frankenstein man at the end is like pretty strong, but then it's got that, and you're like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Which is
Oh, I did finish up the Hammer horror Dracula films though. I finally watched the final installment, the Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires.
How was that?
Skippable. It's a kung fu movie with vampires. The ghouls are cool.
It doesn't sound skippable.
Well, it's skippable. You don't need to ever watch it, but
yeah,
it's on YouTube in multiple formats, so that's easy to watch. But so I've got 2 Frankensteins to go. I think it's like the horror of Frankenstein, and it's got a really cool title. I got to look it up.
I think I've watched all of those. I could be wrong.
Is it this one? Oh yeah, Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell.
I think I've seen.
That's the last one.
Yeah, I think I've seen all of them. I can't quite remember.
But I mean, like I've said before, Hammer, not as good as you'd expect them to be, considering their reputation.
Just not as good as you
want them
hope.
To be. Yeah.
Like you're like, I just wish these were better. Some of them are good, but a lot of them you're kind of like. So yeah, like I watched Phantom of the Opera, and it was a movie.
Hey, do you want to watch a real Christopher Lee movie this month?
If I have time, I would like to.
Well, I've got one for you. This was a creep pick.
Ooh, which one?
The Skull.
The Skull?
The Skull. I believe the context, I can't remember who it was, sorry, who brought it up on the Discord. But it was saying that it was making comparisons to Devil Rides Out. And it's actually got Christopher Lee in it.
I just noticed I do have it on my list for next year already. So if I can, I'll check it out this year. But I'm just not sure.
All right, I'll fuck myself. That's all right. That's fine.
Yep.
But the movie I wanted to mention as a real highlight for me this year, The Bees. On Tubi. Which I've said many times tonight. So this movie, let's take a look here. This movie's got a 2.5.
Okay.
People seem to not be, they're kind of indifferent to it. People who normally like sort of cool movies aren't on board with this thing. I went in zero expectation. This movie is this strange, savage political attack on a just flaccid government administration. It's like this is 1978, and this movie seems to be going hard on Jimmy Carter. Is what I'm thinking when I'm watching this. I'm like, he's talking about like the incompetence of the government to deal with problems. And you're like, whoa, is this some weird like right wing movie? And then like I'm thinking this, being like, well, no, it's a movie about killer bees, and the killer bees are being let loose, and they're
like My Girl style.
Worse.
Oh,
Africanized killer bees. It's even talked
the
about.
Worst ones.
Yeah, just like Michael Moore said on Bowling for Columbine. So it's stoking fear. Well, not only are these killer bees, because also this movie's got John Carradine, who I've seen in so many movies this month. I don't know if it's like 4, but it's a lot.
Like this month alone.
Yeah, but he's also been like, it feels like I keep running into John Carradine, because he was a big guy that showed up. It seemed like in Fred Olen Ray stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So
you're in there.
He's a German doctor who's helping with the experiments in a way to kill the bees, and then they kill the bees, but some of the bees survive, and they become intellectually superior bees who have a plan. And so I was watching this, and I was like, man, this movie's like some odd politics. And then like there's literally a bit where it cuts to a shot of a guy playing Jimmy Carter on the phone, congratulating the scientist John Saxon on solving the problem of the bees. And I was like, holy shit! Like, I wasn't crazy. So this movie seems to be, though, of like the stance of like the government who said that they were going to do more for the environment have failed, and we need to send a message that Jimmy Carter, we're watching you.
And the message is bees.
The bees. The message is the bees. They're going to get. And this movie has this like ending of like, oh, I guess the bees have won, and now we're going to have to deal with the fucking bees, and it's just like they're just bees, but they're smart bees. This movie, there are some scenes in this that are so fucking awesome. I was laughing out loud as people just like fucking go flying out windows to their death due to bees. And the bees are just getting you. They're like killing kids. They don't care. Bees aren't fucking around.
Bees don't care.
Nope, the bees don't care. People are doing strange things where they're like paying children to like steal honey. And like,
okay.
Yeah, I got a bag. Oh no, sorry. He's this dude on a bench is paying kids to like get bees and put them in like paper bags, and then he bring them over to him, and then he puts them onto his legs so to see if they'll sting him, to test out some like, I don't know, ward that he's created, some sort of spray. He's testing it, so he's paying kids to get bees, and it all goes horribly wrong. And then there's more dead people. I love the bees. I'm a bee boy.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah,
sounds like it. I do have it in my watch list. I don't know if I'll get to it this year, but the bees does sound pretty cool.
I don't know. I really enjoyed myself. Oh, look at that. Sam Sanchez, 2.5 stars.
To the bees?
To the bees.
He's a bad dude. Do you not know that?
Yeah.
Is that news?
I mean, he breaks my heart every time.
Yeah.
No.
I know. Some dudes are bad dudes, dude. That's what I've been saying for years. Bad dude.
Bad
dude.
Bad. I'll mention I did watch Leatherface.
And?
Yeah, not so good. This one's
what you'd expect.
This one's got I mean, it's so weird though. So this movie definitely deserves the reputation it has. This is directed by Alexandre Bustillo and Julien Maury, the directors of Inside. Remember Inside?
I haven't seen it, but I know that it's a very popular film.
French extreme cinema.
I know, that's why I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So this is one of these movies where it's the Frenchmen coming to, I don't know if they're French or Belgian, but coming to America, and they make sequel. They make movie. And then it's Leatherface. This movie could be anything. It could have had nothing to do with it, but this movie also has got Steven Dorff. You know about him?
I do know about Steven Dorff.
Now, hey, you know what this movie has also got? It's got Lily Taylor in it.
Oh yeah, what's she up to?
She's the mom.
She's hanging out, or
this movie's got a fake out about who Leatherface is going to be, if you can believe it.
I can't.
Yeah, but yeah, the movie opens up with kid's birthday, Jeb, and his initiation is killing a drifter essentially, and and Grandpa's back. And it's like Young Adventures of the Sawyer family for a little bit. But then the family gets split up because they kill the wrong young woman who's the daughter of a cop. And the family gets all split up and gets put into orphanages under new names. And the mama wants her kids back. Yeah. There's a jailbreak. There's some homicide, I don't know what you call them, Badlands couple, but like crazier. And they just are like, I don't know, there's some real poor decisions in terms of musical choice when you're like massacring people in a diner. It's like very playful and jokey, and you're like, that's not what I'd go for.
Yeah.
And then people get shot. You keep thinking, oh, maybe this nurse character, she'll be all right. And you're like, no, it's not going to work out that way.
Just no one's all right.
People getting shot in the face, getting stitched up. Yeah. Movie it overstays its welcome.
Magic.
It starts off like you're like, this isn't like a badly made movie at all, but from a story standpoint, it's just like this is unnecessary. We don't need Leatherface Begins. You know what I'm saying?
I do. You know what we do need?
What do we need?
I don't know. Hellraiser Begins.
Ooh.
What is the origin?
We do get that, haven't we?
Yeah, we do actually. That was in 3.
Okay.
3 was the origin of Pinhead, and then Bloodlines is the origin of the box. So we've had that. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had it all. Maybe they'll change it again.
They probably will.
Probably.
I was trying to think of something funny. Is like we do need the origins, and then I was looking at some of my list, and I was like, we don't need any of this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if there was one new movie that we've both seen, what would you like to discuss right now? What do people need to see before the end of the month?
I would say one of the Shudder ones, either Mad God or VHS.
Okay.
Because we can talk about Men, but I don't think we need that. That doesn't need to happen before Halloween. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, we can talk about Mad God and VHS if you want. It's like I said, I'm not in a rush to get out of here. We've been really good at like a 3-hour mark, and
well, last week we were over 3, but we can.
Yeah.
Or we just build up the anticipation. Because the fact is though, next week are we going to talk endlessly about the movies that we watch? Because we're going to probably watch a few more.
I mean, I plan to watch at least one a day until Halloween, which is another 5 movies at least.
Many of them won't need discussing. Can we just talk about Censor though? Because Censor Censor sucks.
Did you?
Censor is a waste of time.
Was there? I don't know why I watched this. I think at one point someone that I follow gave it a high rating or something, and I was like, oh, that's on Shudder. I'll throw it on my Creeptober list. And I'm pretty sure that was me, but was that the same as you?
Well, this is one of those movies that Vinegar Syndrome put out on a new line, and it's like Spine 1 on whatever that's going to be called. And I never bought it because I'm super suspicious of these attempts by DVD distributors to like discover new movies, and you don't know how they're related. You're like, are you just putting this movie out because it's someone's like your friends and you all like to have conversations about video nasties, and then you're like, I got a movie, and you go, oh yeah, we'll put it out, dude. Prano Bailey Bond.
Censor. This is a movie about movies, Jarrett.
Is a Welsh director, and this is her probably first feature film, I'm going to guess. Could be wrong. I don't, unless these look like short films to me. Anyway,
sure.
This thing falls down so many fucking like mistakes of like I don't like this story type because it's so easy. It feels like everyone has this like, oh, it's like a psychological thriller. It's inside a character's head, and they're breaking down, and they have this like climax. Like it's so predictable. I feel like there's that one movie. What's it called? One with the spider box looking thing.
Possum?
Yeah, Possum. This is just Possum again. And I'm like, and I feel like there's a lot of sad bastard cinema that are like when they're always like these horrors. Repulsion. It goes all the way back to that, which again is a story I just don't think if it's executed well, it could be really good. But like May, it's the same kind of thing to me where it's like, oh, I've seen this happen, so you better do something really cool with it for once, and they never really do. So Censor is like aimed at, I guess, an audience of horror fans who know what video nasties are, because I think I don't know if a lot of people know that was a thing, like outside of horror movie people, or like, you know, I've talked about it, so you know about it because I've talked. I know about it. You've probably seen YouTube videos. I'm sure James Rolfe talked about video nasties back when, and
at some point probably, but like I know about that, but like I was thinking about that too, and I was like, oh, I imagine people who don't know just hear the word video nasties and they're probably like, does that just mean movies that have bad stuff in them, like without all the other implications? You know what I mean? That was what I kind of took from it,
right?
So
this movie is about this character named Enid, who works for the film censor. She's the one with this government team that like they're like film cops. They watch films, they make notes, they make cuts. Whether or not it passes, they have to make edits, etc., etc. And they watch movies. And then one day she watches a movie that's like, this is kind of like what happened to me as a kid when my sister disappeared.
What did you say her name was?
Enid.
How'd you know? How did you remember her name?
That's the name of Enid Coleslaw from Ghost World.
I felt like they said her name maybe 1,000
It's
times
possible.
in this movie, like literally a
Well,
thousand.
it's kind of like, I mean, if people listen to this podcast, the number of times that you say my name is kind of
Jarrett.
unsettling.
Jarrett.
But I think you
Don't do that right now.
You say my name more out loud than my name actually gets said out loud any other time at all.
Jarrett.
Exactly.
It's for emphasis. Do you know about emphasis?
Yeah, exactly. Do you know about screenwriting, RJ?
Do you understand metaphors?
Yeah. So anyway, this movie with the tagline, "You can't edit reality."
Can't you?
You sure you could?
Sure.
So anyway, she's like, "Well, something's up with this tape. Oh, my parents just happened to show up right as the movie begins to say we're going to say that your sister's died." And she's like, "No, you can't do that. We can't give up hope."
Declared dead.
Declared dead. Yes.
Yeah, declared dead.
And
say it's time.
It's like, yeah, I've seen this movie a few times too. Like it's like check. And then there's this thing like, oh, there's this scummy filmmaker. Maybe he killed her. But how does he know so much? And anyway, then there's like a scandal about a man, the amnesia killer, who's like, he had a copy of Deranged that you edited, and there was a scene where someone ate a face, and you didn't cut that out. You're slipping. And then the pressure starts getting to her, and that, yeah, I don't know. Then she starts digging deeper into this. She's introduced to Michael Smiley's character, who's the producer. He's a real gross dude, but she goes over. He tries to have his way with her. The reason she goes over there is because she starts watching. The producer is like, you have to watch this movie from this guy. He really wants you to watch it. So she watches it, and the story is very close to what happened to her and her sister, she thinks. And the actress in the movie, she thinks she looks like her sister. So she starts getting paranoid. She says, maybe that's my sister. Maybe she was kidnapped and is getting used as an actress in smut films. So then she goes to the producer's house. Yeah, and then kills him. Well, he thinks she's there for some, a Rogering? Jarrett time is how I would describe that. Yeah. And she's actually there. She's like, no, I'm not here for that. She's like, I just want to know what you're doing with that actress. And he's like, you can't be I think he says, he uses a phrase there, something tease. He says you can't be a this tease. Cock. Yeah. And she says, frig off, man. And pushes him over, and he dies. And he's stabbed through an award of his that's very pointy. It's like, oh, I've seen this movie. It's Phallic. I've so much. Everything is just like from something else. And anyway, she starts to unwind. She goes out to a trailer in the middle of nowhere, and then she gets her makeup done. She joins the scene. There's like Beast Man, who's like kind of like the Great Khali. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Anyway, things happen. Her grip on reality begins to be edited. She's losing it, and it's such poor shit because the movie doesn't play fair, and you're just like, at the end of it, you're like, who cares? It has no ending. It goes into this fake out. Not even fake out, but like, oh, it's very much like it's like Brazil. But again, you're like, I don't care. This isn't like, who cares? And then it just ends, and I'm not sure what you're supposed to feel about any of it. And I just go, what a waste of time. Like, because it's like a really nice looking movie. Like it's got some nice lighting and stuff like that. Well made, but yeah, the story is just like, this is it, huh? What are we going for here? Well, you tell me. Phuket. What would you be going for? I don't know. No. Go somewhere with it. Go beyond. Yeah. Like, do some more drafts. That's what people like talking about, right? One of my favorite criticisms online is like, this feels like a first draft. It's like, stop saying that. I mean, there's that one thing. Then I'll watch this movie and I'll go, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, none. I have no idea what you're talking about. I know someone told you that was a thing you could say in a crit of bad writing and creative, but this just felt like it's all the things that this person likes about movies, or whoever wrote it anyway, the stuff they liked about the movie. The director wrote it with another person, and they just like, hey, they've actually worked on everything together, all their short films, they're collaborators, and this was like their statement. It's like, yeah, no, everyone likes crazy characters. Those are big movies. You know, Joker.
Oh,
Yeah.
Do I know Joker? I don't. Never seen it.
Okay.
I know what you mean though. Like I hate that too, and I also hate the literally. What the fuck did I just watch? It's like no, make like think with your thing.
Yeah, with that thing up here, Homer.
The thing up here. Me think. Me flunk English. That's impossible.
That's
you
right.
know what I mean?
Yep.
Well, I'm glad you liked Censor. I mean, I'm with you. Like, I did like some of the stuff they were doing with it. I was like, I kind of like this. I think it's topical now. I think it's always been topical, but this idea that they're like blaming the film editors for what's in the film and then like that stuff. I was like, that's a weird kind of road to go down. You know what I mean?
And then there's this idea. Well, they didn't even know that you didn't even edit it. How did your name come out in the first? It's like what?
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
And like that, I was kind of like, I can see why they're maybe doing that because just like current things, people get
Thrown under the bus.
Yeah, and it's just like this person did this, they're at fault, and it's just like, so I kind of like that. I really like the first 5 minutes intro where it's just showing clips of other movies.
Nice.
Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, yeah,
Driller Killer.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, yeah, Driller Killer is okay, but I thought that was neat. But yeah, I'm more or less with you on Censor. By the time it was done, I went next.
Yeah. Next.
So that was the big one you wanted to talk about.
That's it. Yeah, that's the big one. Oh, I will say though, it's like, well, RJ, if you really want to watch something special this year, still, I mean, you could watch Rebecca McKendry's masterpiece, Glorious.
Jarrett, can you be on? You know I don't want to watch that movie.
It's the
I'm not gonna like it.
It's the best thing she's ever worked on.
Oh, kind of like X. Was Ty West's best?
Exactly.
And like how Pearl is now his new best? Well, I'm not watching that. I'm not going to be bullied by Sam Sanchez into watching that movie either.
Let me just say. So
it's not happening.
So her husband, David, worked on the screenplay, as did someone named Joshua Hall. But Todd Rigney also wrote this film.
And
one of his credits, his only other credit, is the movie Found.
I haven't seen that, but it is on Shudder. I know you like it.
I am. I don't know. I think you might hate that movie, but
I know.
I like it. Yes, I liked Found the one time I've seen it. This movie's got a lot of problems. It's got kind of a cool idea, but it also, by the end of it, you go, who cares?
You say,
there's some
don't care.
There's some choices where you go, oh, it didn't need that, and then there's other choices where you go, why are we doing zoom outs from into space?
Oh, fuck off.
For comedic effect.
Fuck off. I'm not watching any more of that lady's movies.
Okay.
I'm sure she's a nice enough lady. I got nothing against her personally. But I'm not watching anymore. And I'm not watching Ty West movies anymore either. You heard it here first. I'm done with Ty West.
Well, you got to finish the trilogy. You got to watch the next two parts. The Pearl trilogy.
I don't care about old people who want to have sex. It's not something that is part of my interests.
Okay.
You know? Do you want me to hit you with like a couple really quick things?
Sure.
Quick hitters.
And then we'll call it quits.
Quick hitters. Firestarter. That movie is pretty good, dude. Like, and by pretty good, it's got a right feel. I like the mullets. I like how many pyro like things are in that. Like, there's a lot of full body burns, which is pretty cool. I mean, the only thing that George C. Scott is in there as an indigenous man, that's a little problematic. But Firestarter is cool. It's got good practical effects with the fire. I was impressed by it. I went.
You know what else cool. Mark Lester has directed?
I don't.
Commando.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I love it. Here's some more quick hits. Yellow Brick Road. Good show. It's one of Jared's finds from a couple years ago.
Yeah, I forgot you watched that.
Yep,
and now
it's a
you're burning it at the end.
I mean, well, we're just running out of time, but it's a good show, and it's one of those ones where I think if it was just playing on Tubi, because that's where I watched it, Jared, was on Tubi, and if this was just like next in queue, and you're like, yeah, throw that on, whatever, you would watch it and you'd go, oh baby.
I mean, will you say that the ending kind of stinks, but it's really, it's really good till it gets there.
I don't think they needed that.
No.
I honestly, like, too many movies I found this month are trying to rationalize stuff, and it's the same with Hell House, which is my one problem, which we'll talk about next week. But they're like, too many things are trying to like give some sort of closure to things, or like non-closure. Like with this one, it's like, well, what does that mean? Nothing. But it didn't need that either. Like, it should have just, it's done. It's a weird haunted wood, or wherever they're camping. It's weird haunted place on a mountain. You don't need any more explanation then. Hauntings don't need explanations, Jared. Is my takeaway from Creeptober 2022. And that was Yellow Brick Road. It doesn't need an explanation, but all this stuff getting there, I think, is well done. It's a cool story. I like the use of music in this movie. Like the way that the music is.
Yeah.
It's like a character in the movie, Jared. You know about characters in movies?
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Yeah, Yellow Brick Road is good. I
nice.
did like it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool movie. It's super simple, and it plays well. It's got some. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it, because I think that's actually one of the more pleasant surprises of like a lot of horror movies that I've seen. And it has a horrendous cover.
It does,
like fucking awful.
The cover's bad, and I actually the title's kind of shit. But I didn't think they. I saw you said way too many Oz stuff. I thought it was fine. It wasn't overwhelming for me. Maybe I missed a couple of them because like I'm not the Oz head that you are.
Mm-hmm.
But
just an Oz Perkins head.
Just an Oz Perkins head. Yeah, I do like Oz Perkins.
And Oswald Cobblepot.
Yeah, I am a big Oswald Cobblepot guy too. I didn't think it was too much. I was like, yeah, this is fine. Like there's a couple in there. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So I thought it was fine. Okay. You know what movie sucks ass? Day Shift.
What? I don't think.
Holy fuck!
I don't even know what this thing is.
Okay, so it came out this year on Netflix.
I think the only time I ever heard of this movie is when you brought it up.
It came out this year on Netflix, and so the reason I watched it was I told Jared. So
are you saying it should be called Day Shit?
Oh, that's pretty good. I actually wrote a review because I was like, this movie sucks, and I wanted to write a review for it. But Day Shit is pretty good.
Hey, J.J. Perry is an American martial artist, action director, actor, and stuntman. It's his only film, so
yeah,
you gotta start somewhere, kid.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just like it's the things that you expect in new horror movies that are just lazy. It's like a vampire movie, and it's all the lazy vampire shit, and you're just like, And it's a Netflix movie, so it's like that thing that I hate where they play a song for 30 seconds and they cut to either a different song or no song. And it's like, why are you just playing a song for like less than a minute? Like, I don't get it. I watched that. This took me like 3 days to watch this movie. I would watch like 20 minutes of it, or like half an hour, and I was like, I'm done. And I would just put on something else. And then because I had watched that initial 30 minutes, I was like, I got to finish this fucking thing. I thought the humor was really bad. I thought it was really dated. Like it was the kind of humor that would be in like a Seth Rogen 2006 comedy kind of thing. Like there's jokes about like Twilight and stuff, and I was just like, who is this for now? You know what I mean? Like this isn't a thing that's like exists anymore. But yeah, and the vampires are like,
it's like a Seth Rogen joke, like jokes about twinks or something.
Nothing like that. But there is like, I don't know, there's weird shit. Like the vampires are all contortionists, and there's like WWE wrestling in it. I thought it sucked. Dude.
See, when you say that, I go, what, Bray Wyatt? Does he show up?
He could have been in this.
He does some Sister Abigail's. He's back, by the way. Bray Wyatt.
I know, you've told me.
America can be happy again.
Yeah, you've told me. Which, whatever. I mean,
I don't know if you've heard, Bray Wyatt's back.
Oh, is he? Oh, incredible. You know what else is back? Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus 2. It's okay. You can't You can't capture that magic more than once. They tried. It's not bad. It's okay.
But would you say that I should watch Hocus Pocus 1 before I watch 2?
You might want to do that, Jared.
Okay.
It's okay. Like it's not.
Hey, another year without watching Hocus Pocus.
I know Hocus Pocus is actually really good, but if you didn't watch it as a kid, I don't think you'll like it.
I think you're right, because I had many opportunities as a kid to watch it. Never happened.
It was stable in my house. I loved Hocus Pocus, and this one too. Like I did actually like. There were a couple times I was laughing in this movie just because like there's stupid stuff that I thought was funny, and it's in the same heart, but it's not quite there. You know what I mean? So that's all I want to say. I don't want to get too much into Hocus Pocus 2. I did watch Underwater, which I think you might be interested in one day.
Okay.
So
I'm a big T.J. Miller fan.
Oh man, he's got like, so I know he's been canceled, but like his first line in this movie, he sees Kristen Stewart, and he's like, "You flat-chested elven princess" or something. And I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Why would they leave that in there?" Like it was gross, and for a movie that came out like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Jared. I was like, ew. But anyways, it's like an underwater drilling in Marianas Trench, and then like the drill, like there's like pressure leaks and it blows up, and these 5 people are like, and one of those people is Vincent Cassell. Those 5 people are like, oh, we got to walk to the other base underwater, and it's like, okay. A lot of people describe this as Alien. I don't get that vibe. It's not like Alien. It's it has things that are similar, but it's. At no point was like, this reminds me of Alien. Like, it wasn't there. So they're walking, and then you see like creatures and stuff like that, and it's like Marianas Trench creatures. Two things, like this movie's okay actually. Like, it's not great, but 2 things that are cool. They wear these huge big suits, and they look like Gears of War characters, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And then there is a kind of cool monster in this movie, and it's kind of Lovecraftian. And I mean that's kind of spoiler enough in its own, but I did like the monsters in this. I was like, they're kind of cool, but you don't see them enough, and a lot of it is like they're in the bottom of the ocean, so it's like darkness, and it's just kind of like their lights. It's not bad is what I'll say. Okay, Jared?
Okay.
And Night Watch is a movie I'd like to talk about for about 3 minutes, but I don't need to do it right now. Okay. I can do that at the start of next week.
Okay, fine.
You know, unless you want me to tell you about Ghostbusters.
No.
You should watch it.
Fort McLeod Zone.
Yeah. Well, lots of Alberta. There was Drumheller in there. There was Fort McLeod. There is a place I didn't recognize, and then I looked it up, and I was like, hey, that's in Alberta. I don't know where that is. Yeah. It's got your buddy Paul Rudd in it.
The Rudd?
The Rudster. It's got your buddy Harold Ramis in it. And I know what you're saying, Jarrett. Didn't Harold Ramis die? Oh. Do I got news for you, baby?
Hey, I got a movie for you, too.
Which one?
Candyman.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah. But guess what? He's not dead.
Which one?
Tony Todd.
Why didn't they bring Tony Todd back?
Oh, I'm sure they de-aged him.
Oh. Yeah, so I got like half an hour left of Candyman. Art, hey?
Yeah, that character type, the art gallery guy.
The art gallery guy?
I'm kind of like, oh, this is all you got, huh? This is what they always do.
Yep.
All of it's like so broad. This is like, oh, the art critic, the gallerist. It's like, why are we going down this road? And it doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel like it's actually like, that's the problem. And I've complained about this, like all these art, like horror films or horror and art world things. It just they never hit the tone right.
No, they don't. It's too bad. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Candyman's a really cool story too. I was really confused at why they would like it's a sequel to the Candyman, but I was kind of like, I wonder why they like decided to change what what that one is. Like, I guess part of it is like urban legend stuff where it's like, well, there was this lady.
Oh yeah,
who
there's
was
next.
here and she went crazy.
It makes sense because it's like it would be like
urban legend stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Things change because it's like the perspective of the community rather than what we, the audience, knows. Yeah. It's called dramatic irony.
I heard that might be something about controlling your narrative. Is that true?
Ooh. Wow, Braun Strowman knows a lot about that. If you like,
Oh?
I know you like WWE. Hey, did you hear that Bray Wyatt's back?
What?
Yeah,
this is the first I'm hearing about this.
He cut a promo like out of character basically. And
did he cut his hair?
Nah, he's still dreadlocky, I'm sure.
Oh, okay, that's too bad. That's too bad.
Hey, CM Punk's 44th birthday today.
He's 44, that guy?
No.
Man. I wish Bray Wyatt was back.
Well, you got your wish.
What?
He's back wrestling again, RJ.
Holy cow. Holy cow. Huge.
Wow. Well, next week, folks, on Ghoul School's over, but we've got movies to still talk about. Big movies. Big tickets.
Big hot takes?
Yeah. There was no promises. We'll talk about the movies you want to hear about next time.
Are we going to talk about Hellraiser 8?
I hope so.
Tune in next time to see.
Deader. This is the title. Deader. Like, what? What does that mean?
Deader than what?
Deader?
Deader than who?
Hell World. At least that I get it. I get Hell World. That movie is so green. You're gonna love it.
I can't wait.
And people can't wait to tune in next week.
Yeah,
as we talk about the rest of the Monsters and Madmen box set. Was it Corridor of Blood and the Haunted Strangler?
Sure.
Yeah, I think I gave Haunted Strangler 2 stars when I watched it. So woohoo!
Nice.
Woohoo!
Nice.
Corridor of Blood, I think I gave a big fat 3 stars. So that's middling. That's okay.
Incredible. I can't wait.
Some Boris Karloff. It'll be good.
Is there going to be a disclaimer about him?
Oh, there could be.
Ooh.
Creep it real, folks. Stay frosty. Stay creepy. But not too creepy. You don't want to go get arrested.
You don't want to get Duncaned. I'll tell you that much.
Go ring people's doorbells and mock them from afar, making cat sounds.
Oh my god. It's going to happen to you.
It could happen to you.
Exactly.
We want you dead. Durr.